This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome to the show, episode 178 of the X&C Podcast, and this is Colteastwood, and that is...
That's Mag.
Oh, Jeff Keighley. Does Kojima know that? Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys all enjoyed our performance at the Game Awards. Colt and I were secret. We were under NDA, so we couldn't really talk about it. But here we are now. Now we could freely talk about how Colt and I have been old Muppets the entire time. So anyway, welcome to the show, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Colt, how you doing, buddy? What you been up to besides the Game Awards?
Yeah, I mean, that was most of what I was up to leading up to the Game Awards. I'm playing Outer Worlds, the original, right now. Rediscovering what I did really like about it. So I've been playing that and a bunch of Mass Effect Andromeda. And what about you? What have you been doing?
Playing some more Indy Jones while I had some people on Twitter saying I don't play on Xbox when I was were you there for that? When I was literally online playing Indiana Jones on my Xbox, and some guy, for whatever, some random reason, he's just like, man, he doesn't play on his Xbox. He's just a Sony stand, or whatever the hell he said. Oh, sorry, he said I was a Sony stand, which was even funnier. And I'm like, I think he meant stand, but it's okay. I got it. Yeah, I'm not a stand. I'm not a TV stand.
Some of these guys can hardly read, bro.
So I was like, so I told him, I said, I was gonna send him a link. I'm like, here, check out my achievements. How are you doing with Indiana Jones? And I didn't get a response, but it was kind of funny. Connor Garrity in the chat. Good evening, everybody. Corey No for Life is, of course, starting right away. I'm awaiting Magnum to just jump into the show and just attempt to ruin my life as he always does. Anyways, just kidding. Been playing Indiana Jones on Xbox, enjoying it. I'm stuck. Can someone help me out here? Because people are like, oh my God, you're still there. I'm stuck on this elevator part in Giza, and I got stuck there forever, and I kind of like walked away from it, but I want to go back to it.
You can't power up. You can't power up the elevator.
Yes, power up the elevator. What's wrong with me?
Two blue wires to the generator, and then one red. So you just go to the right, go all the way in there, make sure you turn on the power switch, go to the middle one, electrocute the Nazis. Go to the left one, which is another blue one, which goes through and find the switch. I think you jump over like an area in the dark where there's water at the bottom. You don't have to go underwater at all. Just make your way around to the switch. I played that portion in the preview in San Francisco, and I think I spent a good 30 or 40 minutes trying to get all three generators. And then when I replayed it, I forgot what I did, and I just did it so quickly. Playing it the first time didn't help. I just happened to just go right to it and pull all the switches, but yeah.
Of course. The chat's already on fire. Dr. Dinglenuts says just follow the lines. Yeah. I was following the lines, but for some reason I'm able to get 2 out of 3. But then that third one, I can't remember which one it is. I get lost somewhere along the way.
Yeah, it's probably the blue, because the blue wire splits into 2 different wings.
Yes,
and then
that's where
you probably get like, I've already been here, and you're like, maybe you haven't been there. But
yeah. My two, what's up, dude? And of course.
Dr. Dinglehead says, if you're stuck, hit the back button or the select button, and it'll give you an icon pointing you toward that third switch.
Ah, son of a biscuit.
But it pops up for just a second, and then it goes away, so you can just kind of hit it over and over as you walk around with your book.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All right. And
I got to say shout out
immediately. Yeah, go ahead.
I got to say shout out to Red Wolf in the chat, Happy Bomb, and Yodona Kizada for moderating, and Sith Lord for being here, who messages me every Monday at 3 a.m. At his time, and also that blue number, and many more great people. Red Wolf says, Mag never says hi to me.
Oh, really? Hi, how you doing? Listen, Corey No for Life, he says, it's Mag, it's not a PlayStation game. They don't hold your hand. And I'm like, the dude's fired off 2 rounds, and we've only been like 8 minutes into the show. The guy's going to run, Corey No for Life, you're going to run out of bullets before 8:30, okay? 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, that is. Anyways, so I'm playing that. I got stuck there. I'm going to give that another go tomorrow night. I've been streaming on my channel. I've been playing Marvel Rivals with my son when I'm doing my show, Mag and the Wolfman. I've done 3 of them, and it's been not bad. Like I jumped up another 58 subs. So I was just like, all right. And some people are jumping in the chat and talking and whatever else. So I even tell people, I'm like, listen, guys, I'm encouraging people. It's not just me sitting on my butt, just playing games and just sitting there like this with my mouth open, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not doing that. I'm actually talking. So it's almost like a one-man podcast with my son interrupting once in a while, going, because I'm busy talking to like Noisy Mofo or Magnum. Magnum's been in the chat a few times. I'm talking gaming. So like, anybody got questions? You want to ask some things? You want to talk about stuff? Just throw them in the comment section. I'll talk about them. Like that's what we're doing. So it's kind of like a podcast where I'm playing live. So Marvel Rivals is a lot of fun. I hear a rumor. This is the only thing that's bothering me about the game is that the sprint. There's no sprint button. And when you get used to Call of Duty, like, dude, when you die and then they send you back to the like the beginning of the spawn area, and then you've got to go back to the objective. I swear on God's green earth, it feels like I'm doing like a Forrest Gump marathon just to get back over to like where the action is, right? Because you want to just jump right back in there and start doing your Doctor Strange thing or your Hela.
It's better than Overwatch. Overwatch makes you slow walk from the very back of the map. At least at least it doesn't do that in Marvel Rivals. And Paladins, which is what Overwatch ripped off, had a horse that you rode really quickly back into battle. But that is the norm.
Why don't you give me a horse? Give me a horse.
That's their artificial way, Mag, to increase the spawn retimer or whatever, however you call it, right?
All right. Yeah,
because if you respawn in and you're like right in the map, you get shot in the back of the head, or you get the jump on everybody. That's their artificial way to make you really suffer for dying, and that can suck the fun out of it.
And that's the thing that's the only thing that's bothering me a bit, because the different characters obviously for different reasons have different abilities, right? So, you could just walk into the battle, be like, "Hi guys, I'm here." And all of a sudden, Hulk could come out of nowhere and he just launched his super, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hulk smash!" Boom, you're dead. And like he one hits you and you're like, "Oh my God." So like it's all like it's some of it's got to do with luck too, right? Like you get in there and maybe like Hela, the chick from Thor, his sister with the big antlers, Hela. Sorry, every time I hear Hela, I just think of Snoop Dogg going Hela. She'll launch her super where she jumps in the air and then just launches all these projectiles down and then just kills everybody. So like you walk into the battle, it took you 4 minutes to get there, and then Hela launches her thing and then just everybody's dead, and you're like, "Oh my God. Like, can we not do this?" And then you got to walk another 4 minutes back to the battle. So the word is, now I don't have confirmation on this, but I heard it from a couple of people saying that the next patch, they are considering adding a sprint to the game. So a major patch, not like the minor like bug fixes and stuff. When they show a major like update to the game, the word is that they're considering sprint. If they do that, I could absolutely tell you that I think Marvel Rivals will really take. I mean, it's already taken off quite a bit, but I think it's really going to take off if they add that sprint, because then it'll speed up the game and you'll get more people that'll want to get in there and play it. But either way, fantastic game. I'm doing that. And then on the PlayStation side of things, I'm back into Stellar Blade. Wonderful game, as always. I'm really taking my time because I'm going to go for that platinum. I also promised
she got nominated over Elden Ring.
I know, absolutely. And that's what I said from day one. I'm going to be streaming Astrobot as well. I'm going for the platinum on my channel as well. So I'm going to start that. And just because it won Game of the Year, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's just have some fun with it. And then I'm gonna platinum that one on the air. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm a really busy cat on the gaming side of things, man. I got every console firing up right now. The Xbox is overheating. The PS5 Pro is melting the table. My monitor is melting my face. It's just a whole lot of gaming going on. And then, of course, in the new year, I'm actually going to be launching content with like actual videos and stuff, right? So that's coming in January. So it's just busy time of year. But anyways, so busy cat.
Somebody said something today like, "Do you even play games, bro?" Like some kind of like a big insult. And I'm like,
right,
probably play way too much. I also loaded up The Witcher 3 on Xbox, and it has path tracing at 60 frames, and I need to do the Blood and Wine DLC. Sorry, Red Wolf. Sorry, I haven't done that yet, but I was like starting to play into that. I'm like, I can't do like the whole Witcher thing right now because of Game Awards, which we're going to talk about. Well, maybe we'll get that over and explained early on here in the show. But I was doing that, and then I've been on this sci-fi kick because of the Outer Worlds and the Starfield and all that stuff. I'm playing Mass Effect Andromeda again, even though I played it in early 2023 for a second time. So I'm contemplating a video. So whatever it is, I've got something really cool to share with you guys as far as content before the year ends. But I've been playing a bunch of stuff, and I haven't been on the PlayStation much at all because I haven't picked up Stellar Blade or anything. But
Stellar Cheeks, man, you gotta. They had Stellar Cheeks is got to get that Black Friday deal. I don't know if it was still on. I think it's over now, but it was like basically like 35% off or something like that. So that's why I bought it. I waited. I wasn't gonna pay $100. I mean, now in retrospect, I've already put in 20 hours and I'm still in the first world. And people are like, dude, why are you still there? And I'm like, because I am literally doing every side quest, every little thing, every fetch quest, every whatever, all the collectibles, and then I'm moving on to the next one. Because my understanding is, shout out to Detective Seeds out there. He said, if you move off to the next area, you get locked out. This is the one thing that bothers me more than anything about games. When you move into the next world or whatever you want to call it, you get locked out of the content from the previous world. So you can't go back. No, not India.
Of Stellar Blade.
Stellar Cheeks,
okay.
Yeah. So you get locked out of content, so that prevents you. Like, you would have to go back and start from the beginning again after you finish the game. You'd have to go back and play another run through of the game in order to get the platinum. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So apparently you got to do it all before you move to the next one. But anyways, no, what Indie's not like that, is it? No.
You can travel back and even kind of break submersion to do it, but you can do everything pretty much.
That's what I heard, because I had other players reach out to me and saying, hey, I rolled credits on Indie. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go get all the collectibles and side missions that I didn't get to complete and all that stuff. So that's the way you do it, people, ladies and gentlemen, developers, whatever else. There is nothing more irritating than locking players out of content. Dying Light 2 did the same thing. That after
the story's over. Yep.
When you pass certain story beats, it locks you out of side content that prevents you from getting the 100% completion. Like, who designs that? Like,
people that want you to move on and buy another game, I guess.
Idiot.
That blue number in the chat says the Indiana Jones puzzles are amazing. They are so great.
They are great. They are actually really great. This isn't a puzzle, though, essentially. This is just like a fire up a mechanism, but the actual puzzles, like in the tombs and stuff of, pull this lever. The fire one was one of my favorite ones. I'm going to be very vague in case anybody hasn't played them. The fire one?
I call it the Doom one, yeah.
It's kind of like the Temple of Doom kind of vibe, with the fire, and you had to do this, that, and the other. Like I said, I'm being very vague. I love that puzzle. And like, they're not to the point where I've got to Google them. I just sometimes have to sit back and just stare at the screen for a minute and go, you know what? I got it. Okay. Or maybe I can figure this out. So it's not egregious to the point where I'm like, guys, seriously? And then you got to go to Google and then you read it and you're like, who figures this out?
Oh, I didn't have Google when I was reviewing it. There was no one to ask. There was nothing.
Exactly. It's just you. It's like Call of Duty Zombies. They're like, oh, pick up the faucet that's on top of the floor, the floral building or whatever. I'm like, there's not even a prompt to pick it up. Like, you go over to this faucet and like you need like the part, like in order to build like this machine. There's not even a prompt to pick it up. How the hell did you figure it out? There's no way. Sorry, getting angry.
It used to be way worse. It used to be worse.
At least when you walk up to something, it says press X or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or press A or whatever you're on. Like, this doesn't say anything. So I'm like, am I supposed to press a button here? And then I press X. And then I'm like, oh, he takes the faucet. Who figures that out? Nobody. There's no way. There's no chance. There's no way. Anyway, sorry, go on. Rant of the day, folks. Rant of the day.
Meg, you're like going a million miles an hour right now. I can't even keep up. The shout out to the Xbox Expansion Pass with the $2 super says supporting. Hope you're well, Colt. Doing really well. We also have Darth Vinyl 93 with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Darth Vinyl. Says happy holidays, guys. In regards to Jez Corden's big tweet about exclusives, have either of you talked to him? Yes, I have. Just curious if you guys have heard about yet another strategy shift. Before I go into Jez Corden's discussion, which I wasn't planning on covering right away, we are giving away a couple of Indiana Jones coins. I don't have one yet. They're on their way to me, but we are going to give them away. And if you can use the keyword Raiders, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, in your chat somehow, or in your, however you say something, use it creatively in whatever you write in the chat, we will be able to select a couple of winners. And then once you contact me, I'll give you the form that will get the coin straight directly to your shipping location of choice or home or wherever you live. So yeah, I'm going to remind from time to time, if you're here and you're enjoying the show, hit the like button. We're live on YouTube and we're on demand, which is, might be where you're actually listening to it right now. We're on demand on YouTube and on Spotify and Google and Apple Podcasts. So thank you so much for checking us out, and hope everything comes through crystal clear and you could tell which one of us is talking, the ugly one or the handsome one. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about all the news. There's a lot of stuff going on. Welcome everybody to the chat. Let's start with Jez Corden's. Jez Corden's been kind of replying to a lot of people about the exclusivity, and there really is no new shift with Xbox outside of what's been going on this past summer or past several months. Xbox's exclusive strategy has mostly been the same since 2016. Since 2016, they said no games will be only on Xbox console, and they've been on PC, but over the years, they've allowed some of their games to go to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch, and they're doing that more and more. The end story of that discussion, as Mag and I have talked about over the year, and we will not get doom and gloom about it because it's obnoxiously ridiculous and unnecessary, is that Xbox has seen why leave money on the table when they can put a bunch of games on PlayStation and still grow Game Pass, still sell consoles, and still make money across all of their platforms. A lot of us think it's slightly ridiculous that they're doing this, that they just put out Indiana Jones, Flight Sim, Ara History Untold, Age of Empires, Stalker, and now they have Avowed and
forgot the big one.
Yeah, Avowed. Which big one? Call of Duty. Thank you, man.
That's the big one. That's the big baby right there.
So they had inarguably 4 amazing games at the end of the year, and then they've got 4 incredible games in the first half of the year with Avowed, Doom: The Dark Ages, South of Midnight's probably getting in there early, Forza Horizon 6 probably coming later in the year, another Call of Duty game. It's so crazy. The video I'm going to be making at the end of this year is going to break my computer in half. All right, so it's amazing. Jez Corden's statements being that Xbox has seen, as well as PlayStation, that the console growth is staged this way. The console growth is kind of slowed down, especially for Xbox. And even PlayStation sees that there's a massive growth in the PC market, so they're just kind of moving their games over there. The difference is Xbox is dumping them onto PlayStation, which the traditional Xbox fans like, why are they doing this? But Jez Corden has said that it's come to the point now where as soon as the port is ready, go ahead and just put it on PlayStation if you want. And they're leaving it up to the studios. Much of these studios have been acquired for Xbox, and they were used to putting out games on multi-platform. So I think what you're going to see is, we're going to talk about Fable later in the show, but there are going to be a very, very few games that will come out that won't have a PlayStation moniker on them at launch. And that's the way that Jez sees it. And I tend to agree that he's probably talking to enough people that that's probably the reality. Now, Mag, I'll go to you, since you have a much more even-keeled take on it, because I have a little bit of that pocket of, the betrayal and the humanity that I'm sensitive to with other people. What do you think is going on with what Jez has to say and the changes?
Well, first things first, the chat is on fire right now talking about the Las Vegas Raiders. Can I just let everybody know before we continue this podcast, there's only one team in America. There's only one America's team out there, and it sure as hell ain't the Raiders, and it sure as hell ain't the Cowboys. It's the Buffalo Bills, baby. That's right. Josh Allen, number 17, and the Buffalo, look at that, Bills Mafia right there. And you know what? We beat the Kansas City Chiefs. We beat the Detroit Lions yesterday, the number 1 team in the NFL. Absolutely destroyed them yesterday. Systematically destroyed them yesterday. We'll see in the Super Bowl whatever unlucky victim is going to meet us there. Anyways, I just thought I'd close that story up in the chat before everybody keeps talking about the LA Raiders or whatever, the Las Vegas Raiders, whatever they're called now. Anyways,
Anyway, you and your football politics.
It wasn't me. It was the chat. It's not my fault. They instigated. I'm looking down all the Raiders. Yeah, wasn't me. Wasn't me. As for Jez, I'm glad Jez is late to the party, as always. Us real insiders like ourselves. We knew about this last December. I'm sure he did too, but he was like, he's a little bit more cautious about what he says because he's an actual journalist. That's what he does.
Now, hold
you know
on.
what I mean?
To be
He
fair,
writes,
Jez also heard things as they were like in flux. So at
Yes,
one point,
so-
you know, it's not going to be a bunch of games. So yeah, to be fair, go ahead.
he is a little bit, I would imagine. I'm not speaking like, I'm not speaking as fact, but my guess is he's a little bit more cautious about what he says because his actual job is being a journalist, working for Windows Central and doing what he does for Windows Central. I would imagine that he wants to make sure everything's 100% concrete as opposed to, as you had mentioned, in flux. So if you have the people talk, now I talk to the people who are there. I talk to the people who are sitting in that room with the big oak table, right? And because of that, that's when I hear what I hear way ahead of everybody else. Sometimes those things don't happen because what happens is they spitball ideas and go, guys, what do you think about this? And they start squeaking on the whiteboard, right?
Yeah.
On the whiteboard, and they write this and that. That may never, a month later, that might not come to fruition. That might go through the channels, get there, sit down, make a business plan, come over, have a couple of meetings about it, come around, make the final decisions, go to the board of directors, go to the investors, this and that, come back, and all of a sudden they're like, you know what, this is not feasible. So it happens with me all the time. We start off with an idea. I'm like, yes. I'm like, let's go. We got a plan. And all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, it's thrown in the garbage because we find out that in the real world, it's just what came in my head or someone else's head is just not feasible on paper. So he was, I think, a little more cautious. We've been talking about this for literally a year now. And I was not cautious about saying that every single game that they're making is going to go over to PlayStation, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2, barring any kind of technical boundaries that the Switch 2 has. But I do know that at least 5 studios of people that I've talked to in the Xbox camp have switched to dev kits already. They've had them for months. And so they've already been working with this product for quite a bit of time. And some of them are still waiting. I'm not going to say anything else. But either way, they're no strangers to what's going on with Nintendo's new system. Okay? So that being the case, what ends up happening is at the end of the day, we know that everything's going to go in there. This is non-news stories to me. The only thing that pisses me off is that we don't get mentioned about it anymore. It's just like, oh, breaking news, games are going to PlayStation. I'm like, we've been telling you for a year. But then again, we're just not as famous enough to be able to, to pull. I mean, they did quote me on IGN a few times. VGC, got a hold of me a few times. I spoke to a couple of other people, Tom Warren and everybody else. We talked to those people. That's whatever. But Colt, what are you doing?
I'm just getting moody and broody while you talk. I like it.
Moody and broody.
Yeah.
So because of that, I don't have the pull that like some of those other guys do, but I have the information, and the information is all panned out. The thing is, what I look at it is quite a sound business model, and the reason why is because what's ended up happening, and I liken this to Hollywood. I said this a few weeks ago, when Hollywood went to all streaming during the pandemic.
Yeah.
What ended up happening is they were losing the money from the theater, which they need in order to recoup that investment in the film, for example. So let's just say, I don't know, you release a movie, it's $150 million budget, okay? Let's just say for argument's sake. And in the theater, they cross about 200 million domestic, 400 million international, whatever. You've made your money back, right? You've basically just broken even with maybe about $50 to $75 million profit on top of it, right? Then you bring it to home theater, so to speak, home video, DVDs, Blu-rays, streaming. Then you make a supplementary income from that. What they found is that they thought that it was going to be like Netflix, everything was going to blow up, and they were going to be able to recoup all their costs just from the subscription. That is 100% not the case. And that's why a lot of these streaming services are not doing well. And if you've noticed, a lot of these streaming services are putting their movies or putting their films into the movie theaters again to recoup that initial cost, right? Yeah. So you get that movie theater cost. Microsoft is doing the same thing in a very indirect way. Because of Game Pass, and you've got your core audience of Xbox fans who are on Game Pass, I would imagine pretty much everybody in this chat right here. And of course, people that are going to listen to after the show, probably almost everybody is subscribed to Game Pass, right? So therefore, you've lost those sales. People could say, oh, well, we got the subscription. Fine. But there's a lot more money involved than just the $20 a month or whatever it is. You know how much overhead they have to pay for, not just for Game Pass. It's for the, for the studios, for the, for the employees. I'm not going to get into all of it, all right? Because I'll bore you all to death about the economics of this. But they do need those sales in order to boost those numbers even higher, so that you're going to have what the Hollywood model is: box office, then streaming, and home theater. Microsoft sort of bypassed the sales by going straight to this Game Pass situation. So you've migrated all these people into this Game Pass along with some people on PC. However, how do you recoup that? How do you get those sales that they're now losing on the Xbox console? Start selling them on PlayStation outside of a streaming service. So now you're making your money on the sales, not from Xbox fans, from PlayStation fans, God willing, right? In their eyes, they're hoping that they sell well. Steam, and then eventually the Switch too. These companies, those ecosystems are going to be paying full price for those games. So therefore, they have to maintain the quality that they've been doing over the last little while here. They have to do that, so people will be willing to shell out $70 for a great game, right? That's number one. And then at the same time, you're making that supplemental income from the streaming service on the Game Pass side. You're getting the sales, smaller sales on Xbox, bigger sales on PlayStation, and bigger sales on Steam. Right? If you if you think I'm wrong, go look at Call of Duty. 84% of the sales of Call of Duty were on PlayStation. So you're getting the PlayStation sales, you're getting your 30% publisher fee, plus you're getting the people on Game Pass, and you're getting the people on PC. This is a win-win and a win. So that is why they're doing it. So it's not a surprise, shouldn't be a surprise, and it doesn't affect you as an Xbox gamer at all, except for maybe if you have a pride issue. Like, you know what I mean? Like if there's like a...
Yeah, I've said it a lot, that if you want to have a list war, you're not going to win the list war. And
but why? It's silly.
Darth Vinyl's chat here saying,
sure,
just curious if you guys heard about a strategy shift. I think there sort of is
a shift.
I said there wasn't a shift, but they have been kind of like, I think they've always wanted to know if they, can we put our games on PlayStation and still survive? The problem internally with Microsoft is that they're data driven and statistic and revenue driven. Microsoft and even parts of Xbox aren't thinking, what will this do to our brand and our base? They're not thinking about it as much as someone like us. If you're a person who watches podcasts or you're in forums and social media often and you talk about this stuff, you may be thinking about this probably more than Xbox does. And there is some irreparable damage. What's that?
Are you leaving though? Like that's the thing. Like,
no, I'll get to that too. I'll get to that too. That's a really good point.
No one's leaving because I have 1,700 games in my Xbox library.
Jez has looked at the stats, and people are not leaving PlayStation or Xbox to go to another console. If anybody's leaving, they go and they just upgrade to PC. And I think the stats really say that people don't leave; they just add to. So everyone has this false idea that people are jumping ship on Xbox and going.
No,
PlayStation has every game, which is true. PlayStation will have nearly every game, and Xbox will have some of those games first, but not many. But
Colt, if you already have an Xbox and like Doom: The Dark Ages comes out on the PlayStation, you're not going to sell your Xbox to go buy a PlayStation to play the same game that you could literally play in the box that's in front of your face.
I mean, look at our poll.
It's right there.
Almost 70% people say this doesn't bother them, and that's an anonymous poll of somebody thinking, how do I feel? No one's going to know if I say yes or no, and 70% are saying no. Xbox going multi-platform doesn't bother them. And I know that a lot of us, I don't want to stay on this subject because you and I've talked about it so much. We could do a doctorate on it. Yeah. And I think that people truly understand that Xbox might be a little bit more prosperous by changing this strategy or by putting games on PlayStation. And what matters most to us is, are we going to continue to get great, cool games like Fable and Doom and Elder Scrolls and even stuff that Xbox has owned for years and years? Are we still going to get those? Yes. Would we not get those if Xbox started to flounder and fail to stay alive in the market? That would be a question that would be really worrisome. And I think right now, if you told yourself, okay, why are we talking about this? They're already third party. They're already going to put PlayStation games on there. Who cares?
Well,
then you understand that Xbox is going to thrive and grow.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's the business model that they're going back to, which is, believe it or not, which is really funny, that I hear a lot of rhetoric from people saying, "Oh, the old business model's dead. The old way is dead." And I'm like, actually, it's better than ever. I don't believe it. They're
hold on, elaborate.
back to that model.
Which old business model is dead? And
the old business model of just making a game, selling it, for full price, this and that, whatever.
Okay,
and
sure.
then, as opposed to like streaming, subscription services, this and that. No, not streaming. That's not really fair because you could still stream, but you have to pay for it. That's still going to happen. But you see what they're doing? They're literally going back to the original business model on other systems. That's what I was getting at. And that's why people in Hollywood said the same thing in 2021. Oh, it's it. Movie theaters are dead forever. It's over. The old way is over. And then all of a sudden,
and then Moana is killing it.
Fast forward to 2024, everything's back in the theater like it used to be. And the same thing is happening in gaming, except not on Xbox. They're doing the traditional, air quotes, they're doing the traditional method of selling games and whatever else on the other consoles. So they're getting the best of both worlds. They're having this newer model of the subscription / streaming / whatever you want to call it, and access media points. Like, for example, you could play, the this is an Xbox thing. You could play on anything.
You can get with this.
That's working on their system. Yeah. Right? That's working on their system. But what are they doing with the other systems? On the other systems, they're doing the traditional method of we make a game, you buy the game, you play the game, period. And
for
so
sure, Nintendo,
funny.
But even PlayStation is really kind of stretched out the way that they do their traditional gaming. And
no, I'm not talking about how they do their stuff. I'm talking about how Microsoft does their business model. So they're doing both. So you can't say it's dead. It's not dead. They're doing it on other systems. They're just not doing it as much on there. Mind you, you could still go to the Xbox store and buy a game and play the game. You don't need Game Pass. If I wanted to buy Indy Jones and I don't have Game Pass, I just go to the Xbox store and just buy it. So
you can still go to a Target, buy a Series X, and buy a copy of Indiana Jones on the store somehow. Right?
The options are there. But
I want to end this discussion with one final analogy. And a lot of people say Xbox is going the way of Sega. All right. So I want people to clip this because this is gold. Xbox is going the way of Sega. If Sega continued to make consoles for another 20 to 30 years, since Sega died, right? If Sega continued to make consoles for another 20 years, if Sega owned 30 studios, and if Sega had their own subscription, their own traditional way of playing games, playing them on the cloud, buying them outright, or renting them, that's the only way that Xbox is like Sega. And I want people to remember that there is no reality where Xbox is no longer an entity in the gaming space. They've already cemented themselves, even by putting games on PlayStation. Xbox is going to be bigger than ever. Now, it won't be the traditional thing that we've always thought, but they're not like Sega. Just imagine if Sega continued to make consoles for 3 more generations or 4 more generations, because, in a couple generations, we might not even want a console. So I think there's good things to come. I'm going to read these supers. They might cover this stuff, and we'll
there's an achievement unlocked for clippable content.
Yeah, I mean, I went through my stages of grief. I went through the denial in December, and actually that was funny. The stages of grief, you might know those by memory. I don't. The first one is denial.
Yeah.
What's the second one?
I don't know.
Acceptance or whatever. In December, I'm literally on the phone with Rand, and denial came first, and then a minute later came acceptance. And then I was reasoning with him why I know that Xbox is going to do this. So we've all kind of gone through it. But Red Wolf Renegade, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, I'm going through the Witcher books again. Peter Kenny is incredible voiceover. Then going through the Witcher trilogy for the last time. He's actually going to play all the games. And Red Wolf does not. Ballsy. I know he does not. He's not sensitive to playing old, rusty, and dusty games.
Dude, Witcher 1 and 2. You're going to be fighting the mechanics of the game more than the monsters in the game. I can tell you that right now. Those two games are rough. Holy mackerel, dude! You've got a war ahead of you, brother.
They're only like 14 and 9 years old or something, respectively. But
yeah, but dude,
you get 10 years back, and it's like,
holy mackerel! And then have they even done updates to those games at all? Like, have they worked on them and done any remasters?
I don't even think there's I don't even think Witcher 2 has like an up-res or anything via back and pat. It might, but that only helps.
The only one I would ever play is Witcher 3. And you know what's funny? Even Witcher 3 is kind of iffy these days. Like some of the moves, I'm like, ooh.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
that one's 9 years. That one's 9 years old. Witcher 2 is older than
Is
that.
it 2015? Is it 2015? Witcher 3?
Yeah. I was thinking
Holy
Witcher 1 was
crow.
like 09 and Witcher 2 was 11.
I put 300 hours into Witcher 3, man. I ended up getting 1,000 achievement points, but not 1,000 like perfect score because you have to. What I included is I played all the DLCs, which gave me the boost over 1,000.
okay.
But still, it took me like 300 plus hours. But man, Blood and Wine. At the time, anyway, was probably one of the greatest DLCs I have ever had the pleasure to play. And I'm not really a DLC guy, but I bought that, that Game of the Year package where it came with everything, all the DLC and the main story and all that stuff. And then there was the other one where I can't remember what the hell it was called. Man, but what a great
Heart
game!
Stone.
Is that what it is? Heart of Stone?
Heart and Stone, I think.
Oh, Heart and Stone. Yeah, Red Wolf. You know what, man? Godspeed, brother. Here you go. You're getting a salute from the mag because that is. Woo. You're going to be in for it, man.
He'll love it. He'll love every minute of it. He's used to it. He has no time limit on games. United Kazada with the chat says, thanks that blue number for a chance to win these coins. As an owner of some of them, I display them proudly. Appreciate you. Ultraman with the $5 super chat says, hey, Colt Mag
Ultraman.
with a thumbs up. Ultraman looks like he's just like hanging out. He's just like relaxed in the picture. I wish I could be relaxed.
Such a great name. Ultraman.
Ultraman. Book, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says Mag, finally explaining why Microsoft is going multi-platform. If you want Game Pass day one for all Xbox releases, multi-platform is the price to be paid.
Yes, that's basically what I was trying to say. In you said it in a much easier way, but I was breaking down the economics as to why they're doing what they're doing. So again, they're doing the best of both worlds for them because number one is their pockets, not yours. Their pockets first, then yours. But you always have the option. You could go wherever you want. You could buy wherever you want. You could play on Game Pass day one for the price of a subscription. Or if you don't own an Xbox or don't have access, go buy the game on the PlayStation. Go buy it on the Switch too. Do it on the PC, on Steam, whatever the heck you want to do. It's entirely up to you. And it's not going to affect their business in any which way or form. Yes, they have a lot of overhead. Yes, they have a lot to pay for. But it's going to pay off only if, and I have faith in it because of what's been happening in the last little while, quality software and compelling software is going to be the number one catalyst for what's going to move the business forward. Not how much you pay, not how much you save, not anything else. It is literally how great the games are that keep people engaged. That is what that's what should always be their focus, and just focus on that and they will do just fine. And they're going to do just fine anyway. So
yeah, there's a big difference between what PlayStation has coming down the road for this generation and what Xbox has. Xbox is far more single player focused at this point. So if you're only a PlayStation fan, you're going to get the best of, you'll have access to all those games. But if you do, I put a poll in the chat, do you often replay games? And I assume most people don't often like go back and reinstall games and play them over again, start from the beginning.
I don't.
Because I know that a lot of people say, oh, you're renting your games, you don't own them. It's like, I own a lot of games, but how often do we load those up? And sometimes you can look back and go, I played a lot of those games in Game Pass and I don't own them, and that's okay with me. And I think the funny thing is, by the time you want to go buy it, it's like it can be $20 at that point.
Well, yeah, and the funny thing is, I understand why people want to have, they invest in something, they want to be able to own it, and I understand that entirely. My personal feeling is that when I'm done with a game, see, now this goes back to like the GameStop days, or in my case, EB Games days, when we bought all physical in those days, right? What we would do is, at least in those times, I would buy the games from the 360 and on, right? I'd get my 1,000 out of 1,000, and then I'd trade it in. Yeah. Right, and then the guy would give me $25 for it because remember in those days the trade-in of the games were good, right? Or I get a platinum on the PS3 or the 360, do my thing, finish the game. Once you get the platinum or the 1,000 out of 1,000, there's nothing else you could do with the game except for just replay it for fun. But why? You're just losing money at that point because what's going to happen is the longer you hold on to that game, the resale value or the trade-in value goes down. So I would get that, trade it in, get another game for $30.
Yeah, you're like
And
me. We
brand
don't
new.
collect our games. I don't keep them on a shelf.
I
or
just
anything.
kept trading them. Like when I was done, I would trade it. And actually, funny enough, funny story. I had so many 360 games at one point that I ended up finishing a bunch of them. In those days, I was really gunning for achievements. In those days, I would get upwards of like, I don't know, about 50, 60,000 achievement points a year on the 360. I was really like obsessed with the achievement system. And so I loved it. And I would go back and I ended up trading in 10 Xbox 360 games and I got a PS3 for free. It was part of like this promotion thing.
The promotion
near the
was
end of the
ditch Xbox, go to PlayStation.
Yeah, 10 games, and I got to keep both. So, anyways, what I did is once you do that, well, digitally when I started buying games digitally, well, it was the same idea. Once I got my 1,000 or my platinum, I just took it off the hard drive because it was just taking up space for no reason, and I never go back to it. So, in a way, Game Pass hasn't changed my way of consuming a game. It's just the game's got to be good enough for me to consume. That's basically what it works out to in the end. That's all I care about.
Isn't that
and
funny?
That's all everybody else should care about.
Isn't that funny how like 18 years ago we bought all our games on disc and we popped them in and we took them out and we put them in and we put them on the shelf. And then late in the end of that generation, the 360, they're like, it's really great if you install it. So you put the disc in and it'll rip there and install it to your hard drive. And then the very next generation, at least I did, I went from no longer installing the games. I was downloading them directly digital from the store, and that's where I built my library. And now I'm playing a ton of them on Game Pass and stuff. So things change. Well, we got a Game Seeker in the chat with a Canadian $2 super chat. We talked for hours last night. He says, what quarter of 2025 will Doom the Dark Ages come out?
I think 2.
I don't know what the quarter number is, but Mag and I are thinking around
like
May.
Late spring. Yeah, late spring. Like, well, I don't know if that's considered late spring, but yeah, around May. I think May makes the most sense.
Yeah, June 10th or June 20th is the beginning of summer. Right. In the U.S., I mean, that's why he says quarter, because some people live on the other side of the equator and whatnot. And I don't understand how all that math works or all that physics, and the weather's different, and then they have a different season, and then they use metric time, which you have to round everything to the nearest zero, and then I don't even know what day it is in Australia. That's how crazy it gets.
Well, I saw Epic Treasure streaming about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, barely, and it was like 10:45 in the morning the next day on Tuesday.
That's impossible. It was the next day. Like, was she in like a phone booth that that? What's his name
She was playing Sleeping Dogs. It was so random. I'm like, Sleeping Dogs, love the game, but like I was like, what a strange random game to just decide to start playing.
Sleeping Dogs.
What? Sleeping Dogs?
I say Sleeping Dogs. You said Sleeping Dogs.
What the hell did I? Oh, maybe I put an emphasis on the E. Sleeping Dogs. Yeah. No, she was playing Sleeping Dogs, and I'm looking, and I'm like, it's 10:44 a.m. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, okay, whatever.
How do you say the restaurant, the American Mexican chain that sells cheap tacos and has the bell?
Taco
logo?
Bell.
Say it again.
Taco Bell. Taco Bell.
Okay, you say it like I do. My kid hates it. She says it's Taco Bell. I say no, it's Taco Bell. She goes, no, it's Taco Bell.
Oh, you mean like the emphasis on which word? Yeah. It's by the way,
I say it's Taco Bell. Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. I don't say a boot. Okay, so you can knock that off.
Anyway, to answer Game Seeker, I'm thinking like May, but it could be as early as March. But I can't imagine.
By the way, that game that they're announcing for March is not going to be South of Midnight. I was mistaken. I was also mistaken. I was told it was some other game that I've never actually even heard of.
What?
I have to go back and see if I can corroborate that, but like it was a little bit confusing to me when I was reading the message. I might have been drinking, so I'm not really 100%. So I'm gonna have to go back and check it out. But I don't think it's South of Midnight. I think I made a mistake. So
okay.
Or maybe I got my wires crossed. But what do we got? We got going on. We got
something that I think is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm not going to entertain it longer to the minute. But there's a rumor that popped up last night that Lego Horizon, the failed Guerrilla Games mashup with the Lego game that went to the Switch and went to the PlayStation, never got a release on the PS4. The rumor is that Lego is going to strong arm PlayStation into putting that game on the Xbox, and I say, why the would they do that, and I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's stupid cope. Yeah, I know MLB's there, and I have no reason to think that Lego would be like, you need to put that game on Xbox. It didn't sell enough. Lego doesn't tell them what to do. I mean, Marvel doesn't.
You know what? I have no dog in this fight. You know what I mean? I really don't know what the hell's going to happen. I really don't care what's going to happen. I didn't play it on PlayStation. I'm probably not going to play it on Xbox if it went there either. So to me, it was like, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like they're talking about like Ghost of Yotei or like Wolverine or something, like something of substance. You're like, holy crap. If it did go over there, okay, I could see it going over there because, you know, a Lego game or Lego licensed games have always been multiplat, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Spider-Man games,
I don't really care. So, you know what I mean? If it didn't do well on PlayStation, what makes anybody think it's going to do well on Xbox all of a sudden?
It wouldn't. It really wouldn't.
So,
it would if it sold 30,000 copies on PlayStation, it would sell like 8,000 on Xbox. If you're lucky, right. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Meg and I have a ton to talk about. In fact,
we do have a ton to talk about.
I would like to get into the Game Awards stuff. I'll move that up earlier here. Let's go right into that because I want to cover the big stuff, and we'll move through it fairly quickly, everybody, because I know that you talked about it or you heard other podcasts. I was on
but those are not as exciting as us.
No, I was on Rand's show. Rand and I did the show and talked about it, and so I sat on a cattle prod. It was great. It's a really great way to stay in shape as well.
That's live audio from Randall Thor's podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing but crickets. Nothing but crickets. And then once in a while, Colt would say something. He'd just sound like that, just quacking away, talking about stuff. And then all of a sudden, Rand comes back on, and then this. Oh there you go, Randall Thor. What do you think about that, buddy? Enjoy your deep dish pizza that sucks. It's a loaf of bread with cheese on it. A loaf of bread with cheese on it. It's a slap to the face of every Italian on earth.
It's from Chicago. But I'm Italian. This hurts me. It's from Chicago. But I'm Italian. Where's the cheese? It's under the sauce. It's under the sauce. Have you seen that one?
What a disgrace. Yeah, what a disgrace.
I love that.
Who the hell makes deep dish pizza? It's just a loaf of bread. Nonsense.
It's good for you,
Only
bro.
Randall Thor. It's good for you. It's not good for you. It's all carbs and, well, mind you, so is pizza. I mean, I eat like 11 slices in one sitting. So,
I haven't had a slice of real pizza in like
3
months.
Don't do that to yourself. Listen, I understand you're going on the health kick. So do I. But hey, dude, I get it. But like, you know, the thing is, you can't deny things either. Because if you deny things, then you're going to go nuts and you're going to stop yourself from, like, you know what I mean? You're going to go crazy. And then one day you're going to go on a crazy binge. So
and cauliflower pizza doesn't really do it for me. My wife likes cauliflower
enjoy
pizza.
Something.
Yeah. Nah.
Once a week, treat yourself to something. Otherwise,
not yet.
Okay,
I need
all
to get,
all right.
Because I'll just all of a sudden I'll be laying in a ditch with Taco Bell laying all over my chest and like 7 Mountain Dews in my veins.
Did you?
What? Taco Bell.
I just picture Taco Bell. I could picture you with like 2 like heroin syringes and they're green. They're like, oh my God, he's been double dosing a Mountain Dew. Yeah, Brian Harris, the man with a million crickets.
That's good.
Oh, I haven't talked to Rand in so long, man. The guy's busy. I'm busy. I haven't even spoke to him.
He ain't busy, but he's doing well. He's doing well. I talked to him today.
Yeah, I gotta speak to him sometime.
We're not going to talk about who won the awards. Everybody knows Astrobot won. Well deserved. Really awesome game. I want to talk about the major reveals so we can kind of get our our pulse on what was covered. And one of the early things that was shown off at the Game Awards was, let me see. I don't know if I have these in order. I don't really. Was the Outer Worlds 2, which
looked really good.
I talked to someone before the show that was like, I know Xbox isn't showing any hardware. So I got to talk about that first, because Meg and I talked about what were the possibilities of Xbox or some partner.
You never said it, though.
I know you never said it, but I did. Like, what if, Razer or Steam wants to announce their console? Would this be the moment? And none of that happened. But this person I talked to said that Xbox had an announcement. There was one thing as an Xbox fan to be excited about. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And they said, I don't want to tell you. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I can't make a video. I'm not going to tweet it out. What the heck? And so they said, Outer Worlds 2, and it's getting a release date. And I'm like, for when? 2025. I'm like, what? No way. What? And there it was, an hour or two later.
Year. Yep.
Outer Worlds 2, and I'm a little bit split because everyone says it looks so much better than the original, and I've been playing the original, and I think they both look really good. I don't see the 2 times better, but the weapons look awesome. What's your take on Outer Worlds 2?
It looked okay. The sizzle reel they put together was very exciting. I actually didn't realize it was Outer Worlds 2, and I'm like, what is this? So I'm watching the show, and I'm like, this is great. So I'm watching it, watching, and then when I finally realized, I'm like, wait a minute, and I realized it was Outer Worlds, and I was like, oh man. I'm like, this looks really good. I mean, I understand, the point of a trailer is to sell the sizzle, right? You're selling the sizzle, not the steak at that point, right? Because it's not even out yet. But they did a great job of selling the sizzle because in my eyes, I looked at that and I'm like, that is exciting. So my number one thing is I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10 for presentation. Because if there's one thing that they did well, they made people excited for the game. They're like, oh, wow, this looks like, you know what I mean? And so the perception out there, like you said, was this is twice as good as like the other Outer Worlds, or it presented itself in a much better way. That has a lot to do with, again, presentation, pacing, the way that they put together the editing, the way they put together the trailer. Fantastic work. I thought it was great work. That's Hollywood level movie trailer work that they did there. So great job. The game itself, the weapons looked fantastic, looked like a lot of fun. And actually, to be quite honest, this is going to be blasphemous that I'm actually saying this, okay?
Okay.
I can't believe I'm saying this because I am such a monster Borderlands fan. I'm just saying this right now that I think that Outer Worlds 2 looked better than Borderlands 4.
I am right on board with you, bro.
I can't believe I said it.
I can believe you said it. That is fully
I thought
verified.
Borderlands 4 to me was, I'm sure we'll get into it.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
It just was flat to me.
Did it feel like 3 to you?
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, it just felt flat. Like I'm watching it and I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay. It like when the trailer ended, I was like, all right. It didn't really do much for me. When I watched Outer Worlds, I was like, you have my undivided attention here right now. Yeah. So that really got me like, wow. Now let's address the maybe controversy. I don't think there was any controversy because we already knew. Then when it announced at the end of the trailer, when it said, Xbox Series consoles, PC, PlayStation 5, and then some people ripped their hair out, took their glasses off and stabbed themselves in the throat, threw themselves out of windows. You know what I mean?
They got on one of those. They got on that Gremlins lady chair and pulled the lever really and outshorted out. Flew up the stairs really fast.
Yeah,
that's how people go sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It started freaking out in Spanish and whatever. People were like losing their minds. And I'm like, what is happening?
No, you know what? No, let me stop you.
Who cares where it's going? Look at how great the game looked.
Hold on. I thought the same thing. I thought people were freaking out. I saw a few comments like, oh my gosh, it's coming to PlayStation. Like they didn't even give us forewarning. And then I did my video that next day. I had my video out about Outer Worlds 2 and some of the other announcements. And I said, fans are outraged. And people are like, who's outraged?
But there actually were some people who were freaking out.
There were, but this is the thing. And I'm glad we covered this early in the show. I was really schooled and educated this weekend because the large majority of people were not upset whatsoever. The most common response was, this game was on PlayStation. This franchise is on PlayStation and Switch. How did you not expect it to be multi-platform? And I think one of the issues was that you and I didn't expect Outer Worlds to have a 2025 release date. They're barely getting Avowed out in February. Like they had to delay it. And here we've got Outer Worlds 2 coming probably in the fall of 2025. Not only is it ready, but they've got the port ready for PlayStation. They don't even have Avowed's port ready. So
yeah, but I've already mentioned before on another show. I was talking with my friend there, MM2K. I was yip-yapping with him, and then of course, I got clipped on that show, and then people were talking about it, and I said there are some games, and I mentioned a list. I'm not going to go through it, and I mentioned I think 6 games or 7 games that are being co-developed simultaneously on the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5
from Xbox
Pro.
Studios.
From Xbox Studios, yeah, but not all of them. Not all of them. And I named them. Like I said, you have to go back and watch that clip. Go to MM2K's channel, check it out. It's I talked about it there. And then actually Reforge Gaming brought it up the next day because it became like a huge topic. His chat was going nuts, all talking about me, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like in the shower, and I'm like, why is everybody talking about
like
Mag?
Severus Snake a second there.
Yeah, it's like 10 points from Gryffindor.
Potter.
Clearly,
Potter.
celebrity isn't everything.
Borderlands looks
Potter?
Absolutely mediocre, Potter.
Randy Pitchford is coming for our throats.
Randy Pitchford's got the USB drive in his back pocket full of cocaine. Potter.
Now I have a machine gun.
Who else's voice is that?
Oh. Well, I mean, he was Hans Gruber in Die Hard.
I mean,
right?
It also sounds like
Sometimes you're not going to walk away and dance into the sunset like Grace Kelly. Anyways, back to the story. What the hell were we talking about? No,
I don't even know.
The
you were talking about
the games were co-developed for PlayStation and Xbox. So this, I didn't realize that this was one of them actually, and that wasn't one of the 5 or 6 that I had mentioned on that show. But some of them are being co-developed. Whatever. So
I've also heard. Let me shoehorn in.
Sure.
Who even uses those anymore?
Well, some people must use shoehorns.
For many,
I mean, they still exist
for many purposes. I must also shoehorn in that there are some studios who aren't able to get a PlayStation port out right away. So those will be delayed. Yeah. There won't be any delay. I don't think we're going to see a delay because this game needs to stay on Xbox for a while first. I think it's going to be a necessity at this point. And the other one is, like you said, some of these studios don't have dev kits, so they can't make a PS5 port yet. They're not ready.
Well, even the Switch 2. Not every studio has the Switch 2 dev kits. And then now the other thing is too, not us. They know the limitations of the hardware moving forward, right? So there are some games that they're just like, you know what? We're not going to waste our time with Elder Scrolls 6 on a Switch 2. It's not going to happen because, it's going to dampen the experience. Like for example, when they released Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch, sure, it sold. But my God, have you ever watched the footage of that? Oh, I'd rather watch Russian ballet with hairy men as opposed to like good-looking women.
And I've done that.
In tutus than watch anybody play Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch. It is a travesty to development. But either way,
hold on. Sidebar.
You in the front row? Yes.
Thank you.
MSNBC Colteastwood? Yes.
Is it true that when you the new Nintendo Switch, which is going to be announced fairly soon,
very soon,
looks just like the Switch? It's just
I don't
bigger. We've already seen the leak. The prospect of it having NVIDIA DLSS means that we will see more capable games running on the Nintendo Switch from multi-platform studios. We will also see a lot more conventional mainstream games come to the Switch that couldn't before because they use the Integra chip, which is a NVIDIA-based mobile chip. Now they're using a more traditional gaming handheld chip that's like works for Nintendo. So I would be on the lookout for Xbox putting half of their games on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation putting, I don't know, 2 out of 10 games on Nintendo Switch. Sure. It might be a thing because I think Hiroki Totoki of PlayStation said, we're going to put our games wherever there's compute. If you want to translate that from English into everyone else's English, I think he means we're putting our games anywhere we can sell them except for an Xbox. And I would take that clip that I made up to the bank because I think that's really what they mean.
I literally said that, I think, on this very show about a month ago. I can't remember what we were talking about. And it says the game will be multi-platform on everything but an Xbox.
Yes.
And that came from a Sony executive. And I was like, oh.
The funny thing about
he didn't mean it to sound so egregious, but when he said it,
I mean, it's what they mean.
It came across a little bit almost like a little bit egregious and a little aggressive in a way. I'm like, oh, dude, you didn't have to say it like that. But I don't think they meant to say it like that. But that's what they're doing. So
here's the reality, and I know that everyone can console war however they want, and this is the way that I console war. PlayStation is intimidated by Xbox, no matter what. Like polygraph detector and everything. They're intimidated and afraid of Xbox biting into their piece of the pie. So they will do everything they can to minimize Xbox's existence or relevancy in the gaming space. And that means doing things like Black Myth Wukong, saying, we want this game to come to console, put it on our console, and this money means it comes to us. And it doesn't go to Xbox because Xbox didn't put in any money, which is partially their fault as well. So PlayStation will do this because they want to assert their dominance in the gaming space, and they know that Nintendo is eating a lot of their lunch too. And once a mainstream, the bread and butter of a console in the modern era is not Naughty Dog's game. It's not Coalition's game. The bread and butter is everyone else's game that dominates the market. Jez Corden had kind of a colloquial quote yesterday on Twitter where he said 90% of the Xbox users and PlayStation users are just spending money on Fortnite. That's what they're playing, and that's where their money is. So everybody knows that except for the diehard fans. Sorry, Meg.
We're talking to 12% of the gaming world right now. We're not talking to the other 88% of people out there. We're talking to the 12%, maybe 15 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
That's all we're talking about. The other 8, I saw that tweet. I mean, how can you not see Jez's tweets? The guy tweets like an 11-year-old girl every 4 seconds. I'm like, dude, slow down. It's like 3,000 tweets. Anyways, he did say this though. I'm just joking, Jez. Relax. He did, yeah. When he said that, he goes, most are just chilling on Fortnite. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of where all the money is too. Mm-hmm. Don't forget that's a lot where the money is. They want you, just like PlayStation and Xbox specifically, I'll keep Nintendo out of this. Yeah. They want you in the store. They don't care about how many how many copies of God of War Ragnarok or how many copies of Halo Infinite sell. They want you in the store. They want you buying microtransactions. They want you buying season passes to Fortnite. They want you to buy skins. I got skins. They want you to buy all these different things.
DLC. Yeah. Phil said the best customer
in the store.
Phil said, like in 2019, the best customer is the one who buys an Xbox console and holds on to it as long as possible and just buys lots of games.
Right. But like they don't even have to buy games. Just buy supplementary content for games that are even free to play. People will spend thousands of dollars.
Speaking of that, what would you guys think that if Xbox and PlayStation put out a brand new console next generation in like 27, 28, and it was $1,000 and it was really powerful and loaded with AI core?
It will be.
Like,
I think it will be.
What would you do in the U.S.? Because, that's $1,200 plus in Canadian dollars.
Sure.
Would you have to really strain yourself to say, I'm going to go ahead and buy one of these consoles, or are you just ready to jump into next generation even if it's $1,000? Let me put that up as a poll while you're talking.
That's if you're hardcore, because the thing is, and they've obviously laid they've obviously laid down the groundwork for this is an Xbox that you will not have to do that. That's going to be for a niche audience of people, just like the PS5 Pro is not for everybody. I spent $1,100 on that thing. Not everybody's going to spend $1,100 on a console or $1,200 on a console, right? And certainly not the casuals. So if Xbox does do that with the one that Ronald is working on, right? The actual under the TV console that he's working on, it's probably going to be extremely pricey. That being it, because and I can tell you this right now, Microsoft and Sony are done losing money on hardware. They are done.
Especially Xbox, going to be, because PlayStation really isn't.
They are done losing money on hardware. They are going to charge anywhere from $700 to $1,000 for a new console next generation, both PS6 and Xbox. I can guarantee it. Now, the thing is, at the end of the day, you're going to have the small percentage of the people that listen to this show, most likely, right? And people who listen to us after the fact, hit that like button on the way out. And, those people are going to be listening to this show. And go sub to my channel, please. You can watch me play Marvel Rivals. Anyways, they will buy a $1,000 console, maybe. But you're still going to get that subsect of people who will do that. Now, that being the case, that's why this is an Xbox as an ad campaign. Why? Because if you cannot afford that, let's say, for whatever reason,
they don't want to lose a customer.
You're not going to lose a customer, so you can still get it on. Like, for example, I bought this, brand spanking new, absolutely kick-ass monitor I bought right up here, so I can play ultra HD gaming at 120 FPS and this and that, right? I ditched my TV for that, and I got this, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Now, that being the case, when I turned it on, it gave me an option to get Game Pass directly on it without even having to turn on my Series X. It was right there on the screen.
Yeah, that's a
so I
different
had
thing.
access. So you see what I'm saying? So next generation, technically, I would imagine that and I have the best internet you could possibly get on the planet. Being the fiber optic bell that we have up here is the fastest you can get. Now that coupled with this monitor, and let's say I upgrade the monitor in like 4 years or whatever it is, why would I have to buy an Xbox? It's right in front of my face. So you see what I'm saying? So I could just do it right off this TV, and I would imagine the streaming and everything else is going to get even better over the next couple years.
Absolutely.
And therefore, I don't have to spend $1,000 on a box if I don't want to. I might just do it anyway, because I know that Magnum is going to gift me one when it comes out for being such a swell guy. And I'm just going to open the front door one day and find the new Xbox sitting there, purchased by Magnum, and Corey No for Life are going to chip in to buy it. But I have the option. People in the chat have the option. So that is actually a brilliant move for them. Whereas I can look at it, and I mean, as much as I love, as much as I like PlayStation, people call me a pony. I can almost guarantee you that next generation, Sony's option is going to be one thing: buy the PS6 or don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're going to offer the kind of accessibility that Xbox has or whatever else. So, that it's important. But what they want you to do, circling back, let's Tarantino this, go back to the beginning of the story, is that they want you in the stores.
Yeah.
They want you in that store. They want you spending money. They don't really care. Like look at the fall that just happened. Microsoft and PlayStation made a metric ton of cash from people buying microtransactions, season passes, and skins in Call of Duty. Never mind Fortnite, which saw a huge resurgence over the last month. They're making a fortune off those games. They don't even have to release a new game if they don't feel like it. They can just ride off those third-party games as long as people are attuned into their stores.
Yep.
And that's a huge thing, man. Huge thing. This is the business that is above all the other stuff. When Jez was talking about people that chilling on Fortnite, Xbox loves that.
I know.
They want you in there.
I think we look at things a certain way. We think, in the sphere that is so important, the way the plastic is represented, but I think the business is just so much more simplified than that. It's really about just bringing in a ton of money. NC, thank you for the $2 super, says, will Sony try to buy PS5 exclusivity for Halo 7? They will try and they will fail, but no, they wouldn't even bother.
No, that's just silly talk. Come on. That's fun, though. That's kind of fun.
Q1 thank you so much for the £5 super, says, do you think both consoles are learning the sustainability of multiple platform releases? Absolutely. Astrobot, sold 1.5 million units. People say that's a failure, but the game wasn't that expensive to build. It probably already
was not a
profit.
Failure.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go to PC anytime soon, so it's not a failure.
It should. It should. What they should do. You know what I actually think? I think that it would suit well for a Switch 2, but I can bet you my bottom dollar that Nintendo won't allow it, because that's a direct competitor to the new Mario game that's coming out for the Switch 2. And they're going to be like, hell no, we don't want people buying your game. We want people to buy our platformer.
I don't know how.
So I bet you Nintendo would probably cause them more grief than anybody else.
Yeah, I don't know how Nintendo approaches that sort of thing, but
they're vicious, dude. They shut down YouTube channels just for sharing content. Like, holy man.
Yeah, they are pretty bad.
They're cutthroat.
Udonic Izada says, Mag looking like the bad yellow guy in Sin City.
What?
Nothing. They're just saying because your lights are a little bit yellow.
My lights are a bit yellow because the brightness of it. I've been playing with this one. I got another light coming, and then I got a floodlight coming over on this side, and it's going to totally change the atmosphere of the room. But right now, I'm dealing with a little bit too much of the sepia, as it were.
the jaundice, as it were. We've got over 600 people who are watching the show. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to dig into Fable and Perfect Dark discussion. We've got some new update to what's going on, and wow, I'm actually really shocked because I thought I knew what was going on with Fable. We're going to cover that. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. I want to get that like button up to 500. There should be 500 likes by the time we get deep into the show. You guys are all amazing. Thank you so much. Let me cover the recaps for the Game Awards, and we'll move into those big ones. The Outer Worlds we covered. Witcher 4. This isn't a long discussion, but Witcher 4 was shown. It was shown in real time. Digital Foundry did a huge breakdown this morning. I listened to everything they said. They said that from what they can tell, this game is running on a 5000 series NVIDIA card, a new unannounced card, so probably a 5090. It's in-game assets, as far as they can tell. They looked deep into the closeness of Ciri's hair and face, and they saw some angular pixel things that really told them that this is something that would be in-game, in-engine, not something that was like fully, render farmed in a render farm room. So this is what it would look like. I wish I could show it on screen, but check out my last video where I cover The Witcher 4. People are upset that Ciri is the main character. Apparently you guys didn't play Witcher 3 and you don't follow the lore, but
right.
It's under advisement at this point. If Ciri is actually a Witcher, Red Wolf would know a lot about this. He needs to make a video, but Ciri is very Witcher-like, and she may be 50, she may be 100 years old in this trailer, but people are upset that she doesn't look super hot, young, and sexy. Sorry, man.
I think she's somewhere around the range of 85 to 93 years old from someone I said that I listened to that was a Witcher expert. So she's closing in on nearly 100 years old. Now, in those by that standard, I mean, I didn't actually think that. First of all, at first I didn't even realize it was Ciri. I just thought it was some random like Witcher lady, and I'm like, wait a minute, and I'm like, oh, that's exciting. The funny thing is, all the nonsense and all the noise that I heard about it afterwards, that didn't even cross my mind. Like, not at all. And you know me, I could point out something that I would consider to be, a little bit on the nose or a little bit, political or this and that. I didn't see any of that. I literally just saw Ciri being a cool Witcher with a cool intro, and it reminded me of the same trailer they released for Witcher 3, where two guys were about to do something to a woman, and then of course Geralt comes by on his horse and he murders everybody, and then he takes the girl and he saves her and whatever. And this reminded me of the same idea trailer where the girl was off to go be sacrificed to the gods, so to speak, and then Ciri came in and saved her and whatever else, and saved her temporarily. And then, but like, yeah, it basically had the same vibe as that. I didn't. The only thing that bothered me about that trailer is that I didn't get to see any gameplay, which leads me to believe we are minimum 2 to 3 years away. So that kind of sucked in that respect. That's the only thing that upset me. I'm like, actually, I didn't spot anything that was like egregious or political or woke or anything. I didn't see any of that. I just saw what's probably going to be one hell of a great game. So to me, it was that part of it was a non-story, so I didn't even bother, addressing that. I'm excited for it, but not really excited because it's still 2-3 years away. What the hell is the point of thinking about it now? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no point thinking about it. It's so far away that like 2-3 years from now, then I'll think about it. When it's ready to come out, because that CD Projekt Red is notorious for taking one hell of a long time with their development cycles, right? So I'm expecting 2027, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and I think so is Digital Foundry. They're thinking 2027.
Oh, did they? Okay. I didn't watch the video because I generally don't watch them. I don't have anything against them. I'm just not interested in their content.
I'm putting this back in the chat the best I can. Red Wolf Renegade said, and he's very much in tune with the Witcher lore. He said, she apparently is a Witcher. She drank a potion without dying in the trailer. That pretty much is a dead giveaway lore-wise.
Yes.
I don't think she's as old as you would think, though. He says she might be about 20 years older than she was. And I think in Witcher 3, she's in her 20s. So maybe she's 40. The gray hair just comes with being a Witcher. Yeah.
Maybe. Well, we're going to have to find out. But I mean, she looks like she looks like she's like battle hardened, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
Like, you're fighting monsters. What the
I'm sorry, guys. If your fantasy RPG female doesn't wear a bunch of eyeshadow and a bunch of foundation and
I mean,
makeup.
like Stellar Blade is just fun, and it's fun on purpose. Like, it almost knows, it knows what it is, and it's just being silly with it a little bit, because that you're not fighting monsters in high heels and a thong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the developers are just having like some fun with that. Those are just skins you can you unlock during the game or whatever. They know it's not to be taken too seriously. But when you have a game like The Witcher, which is going to be taken, you know what I mean? Like, it seems to have a much darker, more serious tone than like Stellar Blade, for example. Then you could look at that game and say, you know what? Yeah, obviously it doesn't make any sense for her to have, ridiculous outfits that just are kind of silly. So to me, it was a non-story. I didn't see what the big deal was. I'd be curious to see which they won't do. You know it won't do. You know how The Witcher 3 is famous for its love scenes and everything else, right?
Yeah.
When you romance characters, and I'm like, there's no way in hell they're going to be showing Ciri doing what they were doing with Geralt. There's no chance in hell. I don't see it.
The way you put that didn't work, but
well, you know what I'm saying.
I was thinking about that. If you play as a main, this is going to go into my next great small speech, but I was thinking about if you play as Ciri, you know, Geralt, you know, romances many different women throughout his time in The Witcher 3. And if you're a guy who loves The Witcher and you're going to play as Ciri and you're going to be romancing some dudes, you know, that how does that work?
Well, it's the same as Assassin's Creed. Like, I play Assassin's Creed Odyssey as Cassandra, right? I generally play as a female protagonist anyway, because I enjoy playing as a female protagonist more so than men, because they usually have better traversal, like they're faster, more intuitive, as opposed to like a more tank character, a la Assassin's Creed Shadows. I have no interest in playing a tank. I want to play the ninja, the female ninja. Anyways, the point is, I played a Cassandra, and unfortunately for myself, yes, I had to go ahead and clip this, Astral Cyborg. I had to romance a bunch of men, and it was, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. It's just for the story. But, you know, clip that.
I get uncomfortable already thinking of my playthrough of Cyberpunk.
What it is.
Yeah.
But it is. I know.
Okay, here's
what it is.
Here's the thing.
A game.
People are upset because they're trying to reason why they can be mad about Witcher 4. And I think one of the reasons they try to use is they're forcing us to play as a female. Well, here's what I think the reality is. I think the reality is that developers have access to telemetry, player stats, like all over the place on their own games
yes, they do.
and other games. And I will bet you that the stats look something like this. Are you ready? Here's another clippable moment. I'll bet you there's a stat that shows 80% of the gamers that they've pulled are male gamers, or maybe 70.
Sure, yeah.
50% of the time, those males choose to play as a female character. Think about Call of Duty, Overwatch, any game where you can create a character. Like if it's Call of Duty, how many guys choose to play as a female operative because they look cool? How many people choose to play as the hot, cool-looking character in Overwatch?
Yes.
Many matches, right? How many people, when they choose to create a character, build a female character because that's their preference? They like doing that. And then you have all the females who like to play as males, and a lot of them like to play as females. So I'm guessing, this is a pure speculation, that there's telemetry out there that says half the time people are choosing to play as a female. And when they look at all their games sold, they're thinking, this is what people want half the time. And so I think what we're seeing right now is half of the games you play, they're having you choose a female to play as. Sometimes they're saying, this is the main character.
Wrong. I don't think that. I think that a lot of the reasons, like some people are saying, like there's a fine line to skate. Okay, when it comes to what people like to blanket statement as. We're not going to get into this tonight, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like what gets into political, what gets into woke, what gets into this, what gets into that. And the problem is when people see something, sometimes they just blanket statement everything as that or this or whatever. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just as simple as you said, as they look at the statistics of what people want to actually play gender-wise, and a lot of them choose the female form instead. And so therefore, they see that that's something that's a sellable feature for their game where people are like, ooh, I'm going to go buy that, right? I didn't see a problem. Now, the thing is with this case specifically, I don't think that this was like some kind of a political decision, like, oh, you know, we need more representation, because if you've watched the end of The Witcher 3, for anybody, you knew that the next one in line was Ciri. We knew that from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So if you played The Witcher 3, I'm sorry that if anybody doesn't know what's going on, but like 9 years ago, I mean, if you were going to play the game, you should have played it by now. The point is that we all knew it was going to be Ciri. If you read the books, which I have not, but I have spoken to people who have, the next Witcher in line is his daughter.
Yep.
Ciri.
You play as Ciri for like 20% of the game. Or
actually, yes, you play. And actually, I enjoyed a lot of the battles with her because she had cool moves that
she could teleport.
Yeah. She did that, like that fast teleporting thing. So if you're facing off like against 4 guys, she could do that and then whatever. And I was like, oh, that is so cool.
Geralt doesn't have this.
Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it. So,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's very cool. And so I enjoyed it anyway. Now she's obviously at some point, I don't know how old, but I would say significantly older than what she was. And we all knew that she would be the next protagonist following the events of The Witcher 3. And everybody knows that Geralt retired.
Yeah.
Like Geralt literally retired at the end of the game. It's the end of his story. So now they're moving on with Ciri. And so I'm like, all right, I'm cool with that. How about this? Instead of worrying about that, how about we just hope that it's one hell of an awesome, immersive, open world fantasy RPG?
What?
Why
We're
don't we
actually worry about if the game's going to be good? Like, are you serious?
Why don't we just worry about that?
No one can do that in this day and age. And Grim Jr. says if they have the statistics to figure out who wants to play as a female character, why don't they have a statistic about who gets to play, or if people want to play as an ugly female? Well, that's impossible because that's so subjective. The majority of the people right now are saying, what are you talking about? Ciri looks fine. What's wrong with the way she looks? Why are you calling her ugly? And then there's the people that are upset about Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, the Naughty Dog game where you play as a black female character who has her head shaven.
She black? I thought she was Asian. I don't know what the hell. What is she? I thought she was like some kind of a maybe Afro-Asian or something. I don't know what the hell.
Maybe, but I've also heard people.
I've seen the voice actress.
I've seen the actress. She's been in movies and TV. Yes.
Yeah.
And she looks just like the game. She likes to keep her hair short in some of these promo shots I've seen her in. People are actively looking for a reason to be outraged and upset and boycott video games that I don't even know if they would have played in the first place. And when it comes to Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, I don't expect.
We're just diving right into that?
I'm diving right into it. I don't feel like this game is going to be as divisive when it comes to choice that The Last of Us was, because it's a brand new IP. They're not ruining something you once loved. It's got the 80s vibe going on, and trust Neil Druckmann if you do or don't. I don't really like his work all that much, but this game looks really cool, and I'm just going to wait I'm going to put a candle in the window, Mag, that this game is going to be my vibe, and then I'm going to like it, and hopefully it does really well and it's successful. I've talked to friends and people that say this game is going to fail. No one's going to buy it. They're not going to fall for this woke agenda. Mag, what do you think? We're diving into it. We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. I don't know. And the reason why I don't know is because what's funny, again, for someone who's so in tuned with, people that try to put, like, especially companies or whatever, especially entertainment companies who try to push identity politics egregiously, I noticed that stuff from a mile away. I did not feel that in Last of Us 2. But if I go and I look some of the channels that I listen to or whatever, and they're talking about the egregiousness of The Last of Us 2 is now spilling into the Heretic Prophecy. And I'm like, what egregiousness? I didn't see any egregiousness in Last of Us 2. I thought the story, in my opinion, my personal opinion, I thought the story was perfect.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're a big fan. You're a big fan, too.
I'm a huge fan of Last of Us, and I'm a huge fan of the story. And I understand, like, with the whole Joel thing and this and that. But, like, I was just like, but that's the catalyst for this story. The catalyst for the story is the event. You know what I mean? And I didn't see it as a bait and switch. I have to throw this in here because Hargeet's in the chat saying that the story leaked. Okay. No, he's not wrong. The story did leak. A developer.
I think it's absolute bait BS. I don't think the story leaked. There's no way a disgruntled Naughty Dog employee would destroy the livelihood of thousands of people, the livelihood of this game and the studio, because they don't like the quote woke agenda. I'm also going to say something that people are going to really not like. I think that a lot of this stuff that people are fighting about when it comes to the woke agenda and the gender and orientation representation and how it's all being force fed down your throat, I think half of this stuff these people don't even frickin' believe. I think they've told themselves that this is their new religion because they want to get people riled up and outraged, and they want to grift, and there's that word, and garner themselves major traffic on social media, YouTube, Twitch, or everywhere. And they do. And I know there is some stuff that goes on that really ruins the artwork, where character representation should not come before great story and great games. But a lot of the games have been fantastic. And there's been some very bright, shining examples where games have been messed up because the developers wanted to use this podium the video gaming, which is super popular, to tell their story. And I think that stuff needs to be hampered down quite a bit. But some of this stuff that they say, I don't think they truly believe it. When I see them upset about Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, I'm like, you know, they're assuming what she is or what she stands for. We don't even know this stuff yet. And I think we've pulled the trigger before we've even aimed the gun at whatever is going on right now. And I will be even keeled and say there are some reasons why people should be cautious about developers and things they say, but I think there's been a lot of extra outrage for no reason, and it's become a focal point before we even get to celebrate or enjoy great games. I'll also add at the very end of that I've been victim of some games that I thought were going to be amazing. One recently this year, I thought it was going to be fantastic, but the incessant repeating of certain things got so annoying, and the tone shift, that I'm like, I'm not playing this anymore. So that we need to find a more reasonable approach. I'm sorry if I sound upset.
How about a more organic approach? Like, the problem is, the reason why I think some people react the way they do, and sometimes I do as well, because it's not for everything. I don't freak out about everything and call everything woke or this and that. I don't. I have a more, as you said, a more measured approach to it, where I look at something and I'm like, this is so utterly ridiculous. Or some of the horrible things that some of the activist pink hair developers say about the gamers and this and that.
Yeah,
and they just like, oh, our game is not good and people don't want to play it. Well, you're all, fill in the blank. You're all a bunch of racist bigots, blah, 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 blah. Yep, and they just blanket say, oh, you didn't want to watch The Little Mermaid? Oh, well, you're all a bunch of racist bigots. I'm like, no, maybe because the movie sucked. And Sebastian looked like a friggin' lobster. It was ridiculous. Anyways, the point is, I gave it a chance. Dude, just don't do it. You're gonna have nightmares. The point is, I tried to watch that movie too. I tried, but it was not good. But but I say the movie's not good, I'm a racist bigot. If I don't play Fail Guard, then I'm a racist bigot. Not because of the whatever. But then you got this, and so what ends up happening is, when people start to get conditioned to start to dislike everything that's happening, is like you got one side doing this, and then you got one side doing this. So everything that comes out is going to be an immediate knee-jerk reaction, and that is what kind of happened with this. The what's it called? The ratioing of the trailers were just out of control, like literally 3-1.
It was
in the dislikes,
for
right?
Intergalactic. Mag's talking about
Intergalactic, right? Yeah. I'm circling back to that.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer. I did groan when she she just seemed so insufferable as a human.
Yeah, she's
not because
as a person, right? It was like,
yeah, when she's sucking on that friggin' straw, I wanted to punch her in the face so she went through the Porsche sign and got sucked out into space.
Please.
Yeah, and I wanted to just punch her and just like watch her go through the back of the ship and then go right through the Porsche sign and float away in her Nike.
Porsche. Mag, it's Porsche.
Whatever, dude. So anyways, the point is that I found her to be an insufferable, like, just even for like the 1 minute I saw her, I'm like, oh my God, she does not seem likable. So it had nothing to do with, oh, look, it's a non-white person. I'm immediately outraged.
Surly was the word everybody was using.
You can even use surly is not a bad thing either if you're a likable character, but she just seemed kind of obnoxious in a way. And I'm like, ew, I don't like you.
She was like Fawn's in a bad mood.
And Fawn's in a bad mood. And so, I look at, like for example, Abby in The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
People could say, oh, she's this, that, whatever. And I'm like, actually, if you actually play the game, and this is where I'm going to get back to this. If you actually play the game, you find out that Abby is actually quite a wonderful person that went through a lot of horrible things. Yeah. And actually, you start to side more with Abby than you do with Ellie. And that's what makes the story so
They flipped the script on you by having you actually pay attention. Yeah.
Right, and then that's what makes the story so profound that a lot of people missed the boat on. They didn't understand what was happening, and I'm like, holy crap! I see what they did here with the story. The reason why I'm not going to jump to conclusions just yet, because guess why? We haven't played the game or know the story or seen
I want to ask
happened.
you, what do you think of the?
Why don't we
what did the trailer do for you? What was your takeaway from it?
Well, not much, because I'm not much of a cinematic guy. Cinematic trailers don't do anything for me because I don't get to see what I'm doing. Yeah, okay, I saw for 1 second she jumped off the rock with the big, the half laser sword with the regular sword, and she slashed that thing and it went to black. And then the Pet Shop Boys played. Yeah, the Pet Shop Boys played, and then the end of the trailer. But
how the
thing
ships
is,
look, I think the color of the world and the ship and that stuff's cool.
well,
really cool.
The idea is, what do they call that? Retro future. So essentially, what happens is that this is basically like 200 years in the future if it was 1984, right?
Which
so
is
it's like
cool.
an alternate.
And it's
like,
Akira
like
and Cowboy Bebop as well, which is really got people excited.
So I like. So the thing is, we haven't seen the final product, so I can understand some people getting like a little bit up, like, oh, look at this, they're just doing it on purpose. I'm like, guys, let's just pump the brakes. This is still at least 2 years away. At least 2 years away.
Are they over? Well, to end your opinion, like, are they overreacting, or are they kind of?
Well, I can't speak for other people. I can't speak for how people feel, right? I can only speak for how I feel.
I know how they feel.
So, and like, I'm not going to, disagree or agree with whatever anybody else says. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait. And then I'm going to wait the 2-3 years, because I'm expecting this game to come out in the last year of the generation, a la Last of Us 1, Last of Us 2. Remember, Last of Us 2 came out the year that basically the PS4 was ending, right? The June of 2020, and then the PS5 came out in November. So that's what I think that's going to be the same thing. So we got at least a 3-year wait, maybe even longer. So why don't we just wait, see what the game's all about, see if the game is hot. The game might be absolutely amazing, and then on top of that, maybe the character is a little bit more relatable. Who knows? But we can't go absolutely. I mean, you can if you want. I mean, everybody's free to do what they want. But I mean, in my opinion, I'm not going to go absolutely crazy until I see this game, and that's my measured approach to it. And I'm just going to be subjective. You know what I mean? I'm just objective about it and just say, okay, Naughty Dog has not let me down yet, personally, and so therefore, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and see what happens. That's all there is to it. But like the sucking on the straw, you can take that out of the game, Druckmann. I want it out of the game.
Patch it out.
That really, oh my God, it was so. Oh, if someone did that to me in real life, I would literally be in an orange jumpsuit an hour later. I would literally punch. I wouldn't even know what to do. I'd be in an orange jumpsuit an hour later. If someone looked at me and sucked on a straw like that, unless
I am going to buy a strawberry milkshake, hair fryer fighter. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to suck on the straw in front of you.
And it was the noise too, because I don't like people eating in front of me or drinking in front of me. It actually really bothers me. So to hear that sound, I was like, "Oh my God, I want to punch her."
It's supposed to be a social cue for dismissive or irritating social cue. You're like,
well, it was irritating.
Crunching on a big apple or sucking on a straw like that, and just being really disrespectful. And she was trying to do that with her handler. But I think the game's going to be pretty cool, and I hope I like it.
I think it'll be fine. I mean, like I said, Naughty Dog has not let me down yet.
Yeah.
All the way back from the Jack and Daxter days and the Crash Bandicoot days when they were working out of their garage, literally, and then all the games in between, they have not let me down.
Yeah.
At all, in any which way or form. And I still stand that Last of Us 2 is the best game of last generation. Don't care what anybody says.
And so I also want to add, because I tend to push my opinion so forcefully on people like they do me.
All right.
But
that's how it happens.
If you look at this, yeah, right. If you look at Intergalactic, you're like, that is not for me. They're telling me that's not a game that I should play. I am totally fine with that. And I guess you can say that in comment section and stuff. I mean, it's fine. If it doesn't look like it's something for you, or you feel like it's airs on the side of that pushes against,
do whatever you want. Don't buy it.
Then don't.
Don't buy it. That's all you have to do.
But I have a friend who constantly tells me, do not buy this game. Don't play it. I don't like anybody who likes it. And I'm like, okay. Spartan661, thank you so much for gifting 2 channel memberships to Jay Dunn and BT Maverick 77. Boner Jams with a $5 super chat says, saw Magadocious at the TurboGrafx 16 convention in Hartford, Connecticut. We had an extramarital game played back at the hotel lobby. What a treat. Yo, Colt. Oh, bro. They should hit us up here during Christmas break, and we'll go on there on a Wednesday and hang out with those guys. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Risking for the Biscuit, who's just boarding his flight, said, Colt, Magmoji. Great show so far. So the delay, I don't think it's Fable, guys. It's Perfect Dark. Okay. With either being delayed, though, get it right. Okay, we'll talk about that in just a minute. Hey, Riskit says, Mag, they don't have pink hair. It's blue. And that's true.
Yeah, that's right. It's blue hair. Yeah, that's right.
Happy Bomb, thank you so much for facilitating the giveaway for the Indiana Jones with the Great Circle coin. The coin's awesome. If you can see it on the overlay on your screen, if you're on phone, it might be kind of difficult. One side is the Xbox logo with the whip. The other side, if I'm getting this right, is the snake with
excellent.
Well, I got to look at it now.
Excellent.
Oh, the whip with the globe, and then the other side is this snake with the Xbox logo. I cannot wait to get this coin. And I think.
And remember, guys, the coin belongs in a museum. All right.
I'm going to return this to its rightful owner.
Yeah. Oh God, it made me so mad. By the way, I found another moment. By the way, I found another moment. I'm going to call it the modern audience moment. There's a part where the bad guy lands in Giza from like he's in the blimp.
Yeah.
Or Zeppelin.
Oh, Zeppelin, Herr Zeppelin. Yeah.
Anyways, not that Zeppelin. He gets out of the Zeppelin. He's in a Jeep, and he gets in an argument with one of the Nazi like whatever lieutenants or something like that, captains, and they're talking. And he turns to the other guy, and I swear he says this. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, did he just say that? He says, "There's nothing better than watching an angry male." Oh no, sorry. It's there's nothing better than you know the line I'm talking about?
Yep.
Where he says there's nothing better than getting an angry male or something like that. He says something really egregious. It was ridiculous. It
didn't fit too, and it was Voss, I think, that said it. And Voss,
that's his name.
If you haven't finished the game, I'm not spoiling anything, but Voss could be a little bit more dangerous in that game, and he's way too likable. He seems like a cool guy at any rate. So anyway, Skill at Will, Gray Monad, and the game adaptation won the Indiana Jones coin. Meg gets me on an Indiana Jones tangent, and I'm thinking about the whole entire game. Contact me at colteastwooddesign@gmail.com, Gray Monad, and game adaptation, and Skill at Will. I think we've probably chatted back and forth before. I know Gray Monad and I talk on Xbox Live like every month. So yeah, let me know. I'll get you the link when we're all ready, and then they'll ship the coin out to you. We got a $50 super chat from Bishop's Cruise. Thank you so much for the super chat. So thankful. Thank you for doing that. So nice of you. Says, is Mag serious? Abby Jade the depth. Abby had the depth of a puddle, if even that. People didn't dislike Blasphemous 2 because of woke BS. The story did not work at all. I'm glad you liked it, but it was horrible to a lot of people who didn't buy into her character. I will say ahead of Mag's defense that people were upset that Joel did something he wouldn't do. Abby was constantly on a revenge cycle, which was a part of the game. And you had to play as Abby. And if you loved the game for a decade, you had to play as the character that, did something so horrible to your favorite character. So I don't know. Mag, any thoughts?
No, hey man, listen, that's what opinions are for. Everybody's allowed to have them. I can love a film or a game and you could hate it and we could still talk and have a beer together and chill out. And I'd be like, all right, cool, man. You don't like it? You don't like it. It's the same thing with politics, same thing with religion, same with all. I mean, if you're level-headed. And obviously, Bishop Cruz is 100% level-headed. He's like, hey man, if you like it, great. Like he's not sitting there saying, you're wrong and you need to change your opinion. He's not saying that at all. He's saying, hey man, if you liked it, great. And he goes, but his opinion is his opinion. And that's what I like. That's the kind of conversation I like, that we're able to disagree and still be totally cool about it. You know what I mean? That ties into this heretic prophecy thing. If you're going to boycott it, go ahead, boycott it. That doesn't affect me. I'm going to check out the game when it comes out, and then we'll see from there. I'm going to wait for the reviews of the game. And I'm going to base it on the merits of the quality of the game as opposed to the character first, and then see what happens. You know what I mean? I mean, the sucking of the straw could totally just not be there. She could have just done something with her eyebrows. Just been like this. Couldn't have done that, but
I mean, you're doing full motion capture. You're at the
point where you can do nuance, and you can do nuance now.
Yeah, you can do nuance.
Damn it! I gotta find that line. From Indiana Jones. It's really bothering me. He's like, something about, yeah. He said, that's it. Thank you, Maverick. It's like Voss said something about it. He goes, there's nothing easier than being able to manipulate an angry male.
Insecure is what he says, but I can't remember. I think it was an angry male.
Yes.
Which is a weird thing to say.
It was like, I was like, the F did you just say?
That's weird because.
That sounded like it came from an angry cat woman.
Because in the 1930s, you referred to everything as, you just assumed you were talking about a guy. at all times.
I don't know. It sounded like an angry cat lady that can't get a date. That sounds like something she would put on Instagram.
Yeah.
With a recipe for Christmas brownies.
Bishop's Cruise, just be careful of spoilers, like of spoiler stuff that that people who haven't played The Last of Us, and people might jump into it. I'm just surprised they're doing a new IP instead of doing another Uncharted. I was really pleasantly surprised, and also kind of wish they were doing the other, but glad either way, I guess. I'm not a major Naughty Dog fan. I like most of their games though, but
I have played The Last of Us probably, like, between the two of them, probably 7 times. Like, I think I played the first one 3 times, at least 3 times, maybe 4 times, and then the second one I played 3 times. So yeah, Ronnie Anderson in the chat, he goes, Colt, do you like playing with women? That's a loaded question, sir.
I mean, do I know what I'm doing? Hardly, but
yeah.
Let's talk about Fable.
Unlocked.
Let's talk about Fable and Perfect Dark.
Let's talk about Fable.
I've said on the show many times that Fable, according to what I've been hearing, Fable's slipping all the way into like spring of 2026. The latest I've heard is no, Playground Games is ready to rock. They're just waiting for that release date from Grand Theft Auto so they can know when to land, along with the scheduling going on with Game Pass and everything in the holiday. So as far as I'm hearing,
it's coming out 2025?
I have a hard time believing it, but I mean, now I'm feeling pretty good about Fable is going to make it this year, which is insane to think. Doom: The Dark Ages, Fable, Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, South of Midnight, possibly Contraband, the next Call of Duty game. I told you there was a backup avalanche waiting to happen, and there's nothing you could do but cancel these games. So they're going to come barreling down the hallway and just running us over. There was a report from Jeff Grubb that one of Xbox's major games was slipping into 2026. He said it was not Fable, and it's Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark was set for 2025, which is crazy because in the summer of 2024, we finally saw gameplay. And sometimes when you see gameplay, you can think, oh my gosh, is the game ready? Maybe it was, but they've decided to push Perfect Dark into 2026. That's where we thought it was anyway. So the latest we've got is that Fable is, oh my gosh, going to release at the end of 2025 next to Outer Worlds 2, Black Ops 2.5. I don't know what they're going to call it.
Even Jay Dunn in the chat there, he's saying that's too much. I agree. They're trying to, if that were to be the case, and this is one of the rare moments I think we're going to fully disagree on something.
You're not ready for it.
You are overloading 2025 to the point where it's going to create apathy. I don't think this is a good plan, and I think Xbox is not going to do this.
Nope. Sorry. They've got 22 games in the roadmap for this console generation. 2025, 2026, 2027, maybe 2028. If you got 20 games in the next 4 years, how many do you need to release?
Well, that's the thing. I would say 4 in total, but this year is an outlier because Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to count as one of the big games because no one's going to skip it. That's not a game people are going to skip. So, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, you're going to have people who play it and people who skip it. Nobody is, very little anyway, very little people are going to skip Grand Theft Auto 6. And it's going to dominate from the moment it comes out, at least into a month into it. And then, then the people are going to play the GTA Online or whatever else.
Yep.
But I can't see that. I can't see Avowed, South of Midnight. There's some other unannounced game, but it's a smaller one. But let's go with the South of Midnight, Avowed. Then you go into Doom. Then you're going into Outer Worlds 2. Call of Duty. Let's not forget Call of Duty.
Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto need Call of Duty needs a 2 or 3 weeks buffer for any release, and then Call of Duty gosh dang it, Grand Theft Auto probably needs a month of buffer.
And then you got Grand Theft Auto 6. Come on, man. That's too much. And then Outer Worlds 2 all coming out in the fall. And then somewhere you're going to shove Fable, which is going to be their biggest flagship title outside of Gears of War E-Day, in my opinion. I think Gears of War E-Day is going to be the big one.
Which is also rumored by Tom Warren to hit 2025. I don't see that one.
That's that's totally...
Remember,
that's not happening.
Visual Aid, 4 years left in the generation, maybe 3, and you have 20 more games to release.
How do we know all these games are going to hit this generation? Just because of the roadmap,
I think there's only a couple that won't make it, and it's Elder Scrolls 6, which is 2028, Maybe they'll push that into next generation. But
yeah, I could see that.
But it's still going to land right there in the pocket of this generation and next. And the other one is Overdose or OD from Kojima. I don't know when the heck that comes out, but Blade's coming out in 2027.
Contraband.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So
I'm not going to put this up on the screen, but I'm going to. There's 21 games here. A couple of them are already released because I haven't updated this graphic, but I'm going to punch through these really quick. South of Midnight, 2025. Clockwork Revolution, 26. Gears E-Day, 26. Avowed, 25. Outer Worlds 2, 25. Fable, 25. Everwild, 26. State of Decay, 26. Towerborn, 25. Contraband, 26. Perfect Dark, 26. The next Call of Duty Black Ops game or whatever it's going to be, 25. And then one in 26. And then one in 27. Doom the Dark Ages, 25. Marvel's Blade, 26. OD, 27. Elder Scrolls, 28. And then the Xbox hasn't even announced all the games. These are only the officially announced and shown in official reveal trailers.
Right.
20 games. I think there's 20, maybe 19 that are on this list that I've got here that haven't released yet. So you've got 3 to 4 years. You're going to have to release 4, maybe 5 big games every year. And oh well, you bought 30 studios. This is the burden you have to bear. You have a ton of games coming out every year. And thank goodness, because we've waited 10 years for Xbox to arrive, and they're here right now.
But let's just say, for argument's sake, your 22 studios releases 20. God, Emperor Sofa King, I saw what you said, scumbag.
Rewind. I talked over you with one word. Go ahead. Tried to erase. Don't erase his comment. I could see it right there clear. And he says choose a effing lane, my guy. First of all, no one says my guy anymore. That's old talk. Okay. The second thing is. The thing is, he says you can't really talk about saying that they don't have games for me to actually play on game. Anyways, I see what he's saying, but the thing is, you also can't overload with 7 games in 1 year, and then all of a sudden you have a weaker year the next year. You got to spread it out a little bit better. I don't think Fable's a good idea this year because you've got 2 massive games coming out from September to December, which is Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto 6. Fable is a flagship title. It deserves its own time. To me, I would push it to early 2026 and let it shine. If it's going to be the banger they say it is, give it all the time in the world with all the attention in the world. I agree, but Meg, you forget. You forget 2026 is has the exact same problem that 2025 has. They are Xbox is set up to where they will never be able to breathe. They've got a big game coming out every quarter, or sometimes 2 every quarter.
Okay, but let's just say this for argument's sake now. Let's say you release 22, pick a lane, my guy. Ridiculous comment. The thing is, at the end of the day, let's say you have the 22 studios release 22 games this generation. What's coming out at the beginning of next gen? If they've blown their entire load in this generation, what do you've got if everybody's just releasing the games and then they start working on a new game?
Meg, I'm gonna give you a little schooling here.
All right.
Obsidian's going to put out 2 games in the same year, but they're also working on the next Grounded game, Grounded 2, and that one will be even bigger. Playground also has not announced Forza Horizon 6, and I don't know why that didn't happen this year, but I think it's happening next year. Everwild's coming out eventually. Last we heard, it's actually doing just fine. They've been very quiet. Some of these studios have multiple projects they're working on. Some don't. Like Machine Games has 2 studios. We're going to cover this last week. I don't think we really covered it.
I heard they split the studios.
Yeah, so they're going to work on Dooms. They're going to work on Quakes, or they're going to work on Wolfenstein or whatever, and they're also probably going to work on another Indiana Jones game if this one continues to do well. So I'm just saying, like, if you bang all these games out in the last 4 years of this gen, it takes an average of 5 to 7 years to create a new game. What are you launching the next gen with? I know that they know. But I think that's also going to change, Mag. I don't think that Xbox and PlayStation are going to facilitate 4 to 5 year dev cycles anymore. I think they're probably going to be putting the kibosh on that. Is that a real word, kibosh? I think they're going to try and minimize, because you can't have studios tied up on one project for 4 or 5 years. It's
Well,
not
that's why
working.
AI implementation of grunt work is going to become a thing,
Yeah,
because it'll be able
testing,
to push.
programming, and all the stuff that
Yeah.
makes people go
Right.
at
And
work all
so
day.
that will speed up by 2 years at least, just by implementing
Hopefully.
AI. Not AI to take people, like, just to, like I said, to do the grunt work and to do the testing, do the
Yeah.
bugs, to do this and do that, color the trees, this and that, whatever.
Matt
has to
Booty
be
said
done,
they can
rendering.
they'll in the future they want to use AI to run bug testing and glitch testing overnight while they go home. Come home in the
While they
morning,
go home.
look
And
at the
that's what I
report, and
said.
say, "Here's everything we need to fix." That
That's
would
what I'm
be
saying. So, like, AI
huge.
doesn't need to go on vacation, doesn't go on mat leave, doesn't call in sick, doesn't do all that stuff. So it can run while you're not there. So yes, it will speed up the development times, and that's important. So I'm just showing concern a little bit, is
I
that,
know.
like, if you launch all these games in such a short period of time, yeah, great for gamers, yay, I get it. But we're talking on a gaming podcast right now, and people might be thinking, "Oh, Mag is crazy." I'm just saying, if you do all that now, what are you going to have in 4 years? So, I mean, like, you've got to, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they know what they're doing, not me, but I'm just
Yell at
asking a
Risk It,
question.
would you? He's making fun of your yellow face.
I'm just asking. I'm asking a question. Oh, because the sepia. Hold on.
Said, Mag, sit your minion ass down.
There, I'm no longer sepia, okay? Jesus Christ. Maybe I ate too many carrots and I've got jaundice now.
Have you seen that guy that like drank mercury and his skin turned purple?
Thanos? Anyways, listen, but back to the talk about Fable. I will have a gentleman's bet with you. And
Okay, yeah, let's
I have
do it.
no problem
Let's do
being
it.
I have no problem being absolutely wrong, because it doesn't affect me at the end of the day. Okay, where they release these games, it's their business, not mine. My business is playing the games, right?
Yeah, Meg's
So-
right. I do not want to be wanting to play Fable so bad, but I am so hooked on Grand Theft Auto 6 during that month. Yeah, I don't want that problem either.
But
ahead.
I also don't want a game that we've been waiting for years. I don't want it to become Titanfall 2. Remember that? Titanfall 2 released in between Battlefield and Call of Duty and got completely smushed, and it was the best game out of the three, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm trying to get at, the whole point here. I'm not trying to be a villain.
I mean, they are
know
well
what I mean?
aware. They moved Avowed out of the way of Assassin's Creed Shadow and Veilguard. They also are well aware of moving games away from having too many close to each other within their own Game Pass ecosystem. So,
can you imagine they moved Avowed for Assassin's Creed?
and then
But,
it moved
but
again.
people are trying to tell me that they're not going to move Fable for Grand Theft Auto 6.
They will, but I don't know.
So what do you think? What do you think? What about a December
Okay,
release?
I think let's pretend that Grand Theft Auto is slated for September, like 5 was, and let's just say that they hit the mark. They didn't have to delay it. If they announce, like in the summer, Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming September 12th or whatever, right? Then Playground be like, okay, we can announce at E3 or whatever what the release date is. They have October all to themselves, I think. Even if Grand Theft Auto lands in the middle of September, they're like, we can land anywhere in mid to late October and we're fine and we're out of the blast zone.
What about Call of Duty? That's their place.
Call of Duty will probably go back to November. Maybe it'll go back to November instead of October.
I almost feel that they should launch it. Like, okay, let's just say they do launch it in this year. I think it's not wise, but anyways, whatever. That's just my opinion. So let's say they do GTA 6 in September. All right, great. Call of Duty November, as per usual, great. I mean, I know they used to release it on Veterans Day / Remembrance Day, but traditionally they've moved back to the October dates. So now you got an October. I would say that around the Indiana Jones release time would be the time to do it. Now, there's something to be said about the Game Awards, because everybody's like, oh, let's make sure it gets in the Game Awards.
No, December. December's a last-ditch effort. I think that Indiana Jones just wasn't going to make a November release date. They weren't ready, and they had to push to December. I don't like that.
Okay, so then would you do it like on the day of the cutoff, let's say the Game Awards, so that at least you get in there.
I mean, the Game Awards aren't that important to a studio. They are not that important to a studio. So
do they even care? Yeah. I'm just curious.
I just think that Fable has August and September and October to work with. Maybe it's in November because
so then whoa.
Maybe,
so where does
maybe
Outer
Call of
Worlds
Duty's October.
Now where do we put Outer Worlds 2?
I don't know.
That's what I'm getting at. That's why I don't think it's a good idea.
That's why I hate that they ignore May, June, and July, or June and July for major releases.
A lot of people travel and
I don't care if you travel. I play games. I'm sorry.
People travel and touch grass and
chat in the
booties.
In the chat, will you please write which month you would like to see Fable release? Barring that sometime in late October Call of Duty release. Give us your best.
And Outer Worlds 2, didn't they say fall 2025? Or no, did it not say?
They haven't said. They just said 2025 as far as we know.
All right, okay.
Tuggernaut says, move Outer Worlds 2, laugh out loud. I mean, yeah, we've been waiting for both the same amount of time. They were both revealed in 2021.
Well, you know what, though? They said 2025 at the Game Awards. That means it's coming this year. They're not going to change that now. I think that they've made a statement there. They made a statement that it's 2025.
I mean, everybody delays. Risk it for the biscuit. I mean, they've said it, and they delay. Everybody delays either way if they have to. Risk it for the biscuit. Thank you so much for the $3 super. Says, it's coming 2025. And I think he said this 10 minutes ago. I think he's talking about Fable. He feels that Fable's also coming. Red Wolf Renegade, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, if I didn't buy a game for 3 years, I would still have too many due to the other games I've yet to finish that I own. It's a whole thing, he says. And yes, it's because Red he's playing Stalker for 7 million hours, and he goes back and plays he went back and played all the Dragon Age games before the Dragon Age game came out. He went back and played all the Stalker games before the Stalker game came out. And that's a great way to stay in shape. So,
a great way to stay in shape. By the way, I'm not yellow anymore.
You're not? Let me look. Hold on.
No, take a look. I removed the sepia there.
What do you mean? Sepia is like more of a brownish.
I know. It's just like that color.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I don't care what color you are, Meg. I don't see color. The more you know.
Racist bigot. Yeah, you
I
racist
said that to
bigot.
my kid. Well, I said that to my kid. I go, I don't know. I don't see color, and they were like, their eyes rolled so big. Shut up, Dad. And then I did an impression of a foreign accent, and they got really mad and slugged me. That's what my kids do. Apparently, us Gen Xers can't do a foreign accent for comedy. Apparently, that's frowned upon.
No, it's right. Yeah, it's frowned upon. Yeah. I don't care. I do it. I do it. I don't care.
Do it every time.
If it's funny, it's funny. I don't care. You know what I'm going to do? Actually, I'm going to do this, and I was going to do this as a statement for people like with this. Everybody's a racist. Everybody's this. I'm going to say, listen. Let's get this discourse out of the way right now. I'm going to go on Twitter and on YouTube or wherever. I'm going to say 2 jokes against Italian people, right?
There you go.
And I'm going to make fun of Italian people. And I'm going to say, no. I'm going to make those 2 jokes, whatever you want to call it, racist jokes against Italian people. I'm going to say, keep the trend going. Tell me 2 funny jokes about your race, and then 2 jokes about yours. And everybody in the world goes around the world and all tells funny jokes just to say that we can all laugh at ourselves, because that's what all we're supposed to do. Life's not supposed to be taken that bloody seriously.
I honestly think it should be.
I think that'd be fun.
I think it's okay to assimilate an accent for a joke. As long as
laughing
you're not
at each other is important.
There's this
if you
great
can't laugh
reel.
at each other, what are we doing?
Yeah, I know. There's this great reel that I watch, a Pakistani guy. And you guys all know I had Gaz on my show, and he's from Pakistan. He's where he's born. And this Pakistani guy did his impression of what Americans sound like. And like he was wearing it looked like he was in the desert. And he doesn't know a word of English. So it's amazing. He goes, and he's using nonsense words, but he kind of sounds like a news guy. And he like the way that he can't speak English, but he sounded like an American, but the words are like a sim speaking. It's freaking hilarious. Like, it's okay. And I'm like, man, that guy sounds like a white dude. That's so funny. I love it. Let's move on. But you guys are great.
Funny.
We appreciate
funny.
It's funny.
Funny. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. Game Seeker, thanks so much for the $10 super chat. I talked to Game Seeker. He's from Canada. And he'll say, you like that game, eh? And I go, you said A. And he goes, what? I did? And I said, I love it. Red Wolf and I were on the chat with him. And every time he says it, we were like, I love it. And he goes, oh my gosh. Game Seeker, thank you so much for the $10 super. He goes, didn't Phil Spencer say one first-party title every quarter? Take Outer Worlds 2 and Call of Duty out of the equation. I don't know why he's saying this, but he says, what are those for in 2025? I know things have changed a lot since he said that. Okay, he said one for every quarter. So what would be, Avowed would be the first-party title in the first quarter. Second quarter, Mag and I think would be Doom Dark Ages. The third quarter is weird because it's like summer, early fall. So maybe that's Outer Worlds 2. And then what would be the fourth one if it's not, I guess
South
it'd be
of
Fable?
Midnight, Call of Duty, and Fable. You still got 3 other games. That's 6 games in 4 quarters.
Let me look at that graphic and see if there's anything. Towerborn's super small.
Yeah, that's a smaller game. Yeah, it looks fun though. I mean, but yeah, it's a smaller title. But you've got 6 titles. You've got 6 big titles in 4. You got 6 AAA titles in 4 quarters. So where do you put them all? And that doesn't include Grand Theft Auto 6, that's going to chew up a huge portion of the mind share. Right? So that's a situation. That's all I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is you got 6 AAA games trying to squeeze them into 4 quarters plus Grand Theft Auto. I think it's I don't think that that's a good idea. I think that they should move Fable out into 2026 and then launch the year with it. Make the beginning of the year hot.
I think it's Xbox's problem, and oh well. If they have to smash a couple games together, sorry. Oops, you made too many games. Rich Giver the Biscuit with the $3 super chat says, never argue for less games, ever. And Meg's not saying
arguing for less games.
He's just saying spread them out. But you know what? The problem...
You know what's going to happen? People aren't going to play as... I'm telling you right now.
I mean, they already have that problem, Meg.
I know the metrics. People are not playing the games.
The problem that Xbox has to deal with is they're so diverse. They've got RTS games, they've got RPGs, they've got action adventure, they've got simulation games.
Right.
Unfortunately, for all of this argument's sake, they've got games that can overlap in some sort of respect, and they have different audiences. I mean, there are people who are going to buy Call of Duty no matter what. They don't give a flying fudge about what Fable is or when it's coming out. And they're all going to buy Call of Duty no matter what. And they're not even going to look over at Fable no matter what score it gets. And then there's going to be the people that say, I don't care about Call of Duty. It comes out every year. Who cares? I want something new. Ooh, Fable. And I hope Xbox understands that. And I hope part of you, Mag, is wrong and that some of that stuff gets kind of close together, because I'm tired of waiting for games they showed us 4 or 5 years ago. But you're beautiful, Mag.
No, I get it. But I don't want them all at once.
I know, because you can't play them all, and you try to play them all. And I do too. I'm going to have to tell myself, Colt, don't buy the game as soon as it comes out. I'm going to have to actively plan this year to make sure I don't buy them. Yeah.
I don't want to sit there. You know, like Christmas morning, especially when you're younger, you get too many gifts and then you don't know which one to play with because you got like 10 things and you're like, holy crap, I got 10 awesome things, and you don't know what to do with all 10 at once. You don't give it each equal amount of time. You pick up one thing and go, oh, that's cute. Then you pick up another one, go, oh, that's cool. And you go back to the next one, oh, that's all right. You're not giving it the time it requires. That's all I'm trying to say. It's like you got too many presents in a short period of time. I think we should respect the time of the game and give it like the proper spacing that it needs so people can actually engage with it for a lengthy period of time. I don't want to jump around from 4 AAA titles at the same time. That's crazy.
And I know you're speaking. You're speaking for our audience, like they're hardcore, right? They want to play all of them ASAP, and it is a problem. But we will have to.
Problem. It's just a problem for me. I just want to spend my time and be like,
it is. I feel the same thing.
This Fable month or whatever, you know what I mean? Or this month is Call of Duty month.
Yeah.
I understand there's such thing as multitask. That's what I do for a living. But I'm not. But I don't. You know. But with the gaming, I can play Call of Duty whenever I want, and I usually squeeze that in between I'm playing other games because I'm already done the story. Now it's just multiplayer and zombies. You know what I mean? That doesn't require anything but just some fun with friends. But I'm just saying, like those other games, I want to give it the appropriate time. And then all of a sudden, let's say you release 1, 2, 3, 4, bang, 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 like this. You're not going to be playing all 4 at once and give it the equal amount of time.
Another thing you're leaving out. And then people
are going to forget.
Another thing you're leaving out is like when a lot of people are playing a certain game, you want to be there with them when everyone's talking about it.
Well, that's
like,
the FOMO part. Yes, you're right.
It's
you want to be part of the
FOMO, but
conversation.
when everyone's playing this game, even if it's single player and they're all talking about their experience, and you're I'm waiting to get to that because I'm still playing this. You kind of miss out on like being in the moment with the other fans or being in the conversation, and that sucks too. I see where you're coming
But
from. With that.
how the hell are we going to find out what game people are playing if you release 5 bangers in 7 weeks?
I mean, we're not even
Like, you know what I mean?
The video I will be working on at the end of the year is the insanity of 2025's release schedule, and if we're not even counting the multiplats from the other studios,
that's the other thing.
Yeah,
Holy,
it's nuts! It's nuts.
As the kids would say, skibbity toilet. What are we gonna do? Like, you know,
as the kids would say, Ohio Sigma. What are we?
Yeah.
Speaking of, I forgot to shoehorn this in. I'll just throw this in real quick. Borderlands narrative director said there will not be any very topical skibbity toilet like humor in the game. They're working on trying to make the game like timeless comedy because people are really upset that 3 had like the joke of the day with the Twitch streamer bad guys. Ridiculous. So I don't know. Let me read the quote and then I'll move on. He says, I remain firm in my criticism of Borderlands 3's overabundance of toilet humor. That's a good thing to hear because I hated. No one was funny in that game. No one. Yeah. So, Biff Rinaldi, thank you so much for the $5 super. Said, Mag, did you really come to Connecticut and not tell me? Not cool, bro. Next time, hit me up. I know where all the good food is.
Oh, man. No, I did not go to Connecticut. Well, at least just don't tell the FBI or the CIA. But either way, yeah. I may have been there, maybe not.
No, it was that was our boy. That was just a randomized comment from our good friend of the show, Boner Jams. So yeah. Anyway, Risker for the biscuit. Thank you so much for the $8 Australian. Says Call of Duty is on Game Pass. Fable's on Game Pass. Fable does not have to shift for Call of Duty. They're different genres. They'll still see success. October is fine. Yeah,
I disagree.
I mostly agree with Riskin on that one, but yeah, I know I don't want it right next to Call of Duty either when I argue with you about that, Mag. I don't.
Yeah, I think that they should be separate. They should be separated by a month at least. And I just think that there's just so much going on in the fall of 2025. I think it'd be a waste of a great product to shove it in there like a fat person trying to get into an airplane seat. Like, just don't do it.
To fit into that seat.
Yeah,
Potter,
no,
having
don't
too much
do it.
chicken pot pies, huh?
Have you been eating too much salami and pizza, Mr. Potter? You cannot even fit in your seat.
You're sitting far too close to Ron Weasley. I got to bring it up. It's our darling love, Mag. Mafia: The Old Country is coming out summer of 2025.
That's another one.
It freaking looks unbelievable.
Ma che cazzo, Mafia 4. Now I don't even know where the hell I'm going to play it. Skill at will. Yes, I do feel
meatball. Then my kids hit me for doing an Italian impression. Dad! Crimson Desert is another one coming out this year. Borderlands 4. Split Fiction is another one.
Mafia 4.
Bro, it's over. Sell your Xbox. It's over. There's too many games. Meg, we've had an amazing show. I can't even fit the rest of it in. I've had you far too long. It's been an amazing night. The chat's been incredible. We have well over 600 people here the whole time. What an awesome showing. Thank you guys so much for being here to support us and hear Mag and I rant like a couple old bald crotchety Muppets up in the balcony. But Mag, what do you have going on the rest of the week? I'm going to be working on new content and playing Outer Worlds and stuff. And Mass Effect.
Wow, somebody understood what I said there. When I said Biff Rinaldi understood what I said when I said a little bit of a nasty thing in Italian. Anyways, I'm going to be streaming Marvel Rivals and Astrobot on my channel. That's at well, you can find me at The Mag, but the name of the show is The Mag Show, but I'm at The Mag there, and you can find me there. And if anybody has trouble finding it, because I'm not big, so therefore if you type it in, I'm not the first one that shows up, right?
Yeah, so an old lady shows up on one of them.
Yeah, some like old lady shows up, and I'm like, guys, that's not me. So listen, help me get there. Help me get bigger. Help me get there, Mr. Potter.
That does not sound right.
Wow, that did not sound. My wand is ready, Mr. Potter. Oh my goodness, my goodness! I did not.
You're sitting on my wand.
Anyways, I will be streaming those 2 games on my channel. Help me get bigger so it'll be easier to find me. And like I said, I'm treating it like a podcast as well. I'm just out there playing games with my son and doing my thing. I'll be doing the Astrobot solo, obviously. Come and ask me questions. Talk to me. Whatever you want to make fun of me. Send Sofa King there to talk smack about me. Get Magnum in there to talk smack. Magnum shows up and he talks smack about me. So Sofa King, you know where to find me. Come on, man. Anyways, all joking aside. Great show tonight. Great chat. Great everybody. Great topics. I love the fact that we're having passionate disagreements about. Yeah, that's a fake phone. That's a fake phone. We're having passionate disagreements, but that's what makes things fun. I enjoy that. I love that Colt is standing on one side. I'm standing on the other saying, I don't think this is happening. And he's like, I think this is happening. And the fun part is
we'll both be wrong.
We'll both be wrong. Everything is going to get canceled. It's so anyways, in all seriousness, great show tonight, guys. Great everything. Wonderful. I love the positivity that's coming out in this gaming world. Listen, it don't matter where you play. It just matters that you're having a good time doing it, right? So let's just keep doing that. Keep things positive and happy and just enjoy what you got and just have a great holiday season as well. So be nice to each other.
Yeah.
Guys are awesome. The chat is
thank you. We've got the most reasonable, smart chat of. I've been around a lot of chats, and you guys do far less of the, oh my gosh, we're all gonna die. And especially the people who have commented. Especially the people who have commented on my videos have really helped me understand that people aren't freaking out about this multi-platform thing. And people are just like, I'm just playing the games. Who cares?
I'm gonna look at the camera. Do you have an Xbox?
Yes.
Okay, you have an Xbox. So play there and enjoy yourself.
But they're taking games away. No, they're not taking.
No, they're
away.
not.
Yeah,
they're not going anywhere.
I know. It's a weird change. It's a weird change, but
that's it. Just do what you want to do, and it's gonna be a great time doing it. So let's have some fun. Let's have some fun and play some games. And listen, we've got one hell of a 2025 coming up. I know we had some disagreements about where we think these games are going to land in terms of releases, but hey, it doesn't matter. 2025 is going to be hot. So why don't we just be excited for that, and then you know what, we have nothing to complain about. So I'm excited, I'm happy about it, and it's a great time. I know it sounds really cliche to say it, but it really truly is a great time to be a gamer. So we're doing good, we're eating good, as some of the kids would say. Skibbity toilet. What the Sigma. Let's go. We'll see you guys all next week. Everybody have a great night.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hit the like button on the way out, and thank you so much for the Xbox fan art. For all their support and the coins. We'll do more coin giveaways next week. I'll check with them, make sure we can do that. Thanks. Leave a comment in as we go on demand. And thank you so much for everything. Leave a comment and say Potter. That will be the one. Thanks, guys. Later.